is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling. Kick down the doors, they won't let me in.
What up, Nick Nation? It's your boy Phil Porto, aka Phil All Caps. Those that are tuning in from my whiskey account, this is Phil, aka That's the Spirit. And I'm looking forward to today's episode because not only am I going to be hanging out with my guy Apollo, and he doesn't have to go to work in the morning, so that's a blessing. But we will be joined by one of the best voices in Knicks fandom, Knicks Twitter, Knicks content creation, Miss Ebony, the Mad Nick fan herself. And we will also be joined by a brand that has been blowing up in the whiskey industry, and their owner, Molly, Oakley Spirits. And we talked about them a little bit when we had Todd from Daxis on the episode. He's the one that introduced me, and we will have some familiar faces such as Todd from Daxis and Frank Dobbins from Up Rocks himself will be joining us as well to, break out some of these amazing, delicious whiskeys that you all will want to make sure you use all of your Christmas money to go purchase. So I'm looking forward to it. We got so much to talk about when it comes to the New York Knicks themselves. And so without further ado, I'm going to bring up my guy, Mr. Apollo Reed.
Yo. What's going on, family? How you doing?
How's it going?
Good, man. Can't complain. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. How was your Christmas?
Christmas was great. The boys and the wife had a great Christmas. It was real chill. We didn't really have anybody. We didn't have anybody over. We didn't actually go to our grandmother-in-law's house like we planned to. So we actually just kicked back and chill. But kids had a great one. That's really what matters. The kids had a great Christmas, and good vibes, man. Everything was good. How about you?
It's good, man. So we actually planned on having a really low-key Christmas, just me, my wife, and the boys. And out of nowhere, a few days before Christmas, my mother-in-law, was like, what if I bought a flight for you guys right now? Would you guys come and spend it with us in DC? And we were like, if you really want us there that bad, yeah, we'll definitely come. Like, we'd love to see you guys. We'd love to hang out. So we're actually in DC right now, which is why my setup looks very unfamiliar to those that are watching. But it was a lot of fun. The kids had a great time hanging out with their Uncle Isaac. We had a great time hanging out with my mother-in-law and new father-in-law, Kevin. And we've had a great time, and we've only been here. We flew Christmas Eve, which was the weirdest thing. I've never traveled on Christmas Eve before. And so I didn't know what to expect, but it was smooth. We got here having a good time. We're gonna head into DC on Sunday and kind of do the whole like tourist family thing and all that stuff. But it was good, man. The Knicks did what the Knicks did, so we're going to talk about that as well. But shout out to my guy, Nostalgic Nick in the building. Appreciate you so much for being here. Our guy, Toon, as always, we appreciate you. My guy, Prezi, the boss, is at Knicks Nightcap. Salute to the whiskey god, Phil, all caps. And the boy is good. Apollo Reed, Hulk smash the like button. Let's run up the subs to 15K. Merry Knicksmas, KOT Gunshots. Agreed. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let people know where to find us and bring more people. Even if you don't like me and you don't like Apollo, you're going to like Oakley Spirits. So I definitely think you need to retweet this and join while you guys can, because once everybody gets up here, it's going to be a fire night. So I'm looking forward to it. But I want to present this little clip real quick because I think someone we all know and love had a way better Christmas than all of us. So without further ado, I'm going to showcase this guy right here. All right. Our guy, Swanee. Not only was he in the building at the Knick game, but he did the challenge, the skills challenge, and he walked away with $1,000, gloating and doing his little Jalen Brunson kiss after nailing the 3-point shot.
Swanee would be that person. Like, he really would.
And that's the thing is, like, sometimes when people are like, so I didn't watch it because my stream didn't show the in-betweens. It just
Yeah.
said game break.
Mhm.
So my brother texted me. He's like, yo, is Swanee doing the skills challenge right now? And I was like, what? And he's like, Swanee's doing the skills challenge. And typically if someone's like, is that Swanee or is that some, like they throw out a name, I'm like, no, it's probably not them,
Right.
like, but when it's Swanee, I'm like, of course it's Swanee. Like,
Of
why
course it would be
wouldn't
fun, right?
yeah, why wouldn't he fly from California out to New York and be the one that's chosen to win $1,000 on MSG's court? Like, of course, that's just the life of Swanee and the luck of Swanee. So
I need him to play the lotto for me because that dude's got some luck, man.
for real, that's what I'm saying, and it was cool to see that he was rocking a Knicks Homer shirt,
Mhm.
representing Knicks Twitter, which is always really, really dope to see. But yeah, speaking of dope merch, I want to give a shout out to some of mine and Apollo's sponsors for this season, like this hat right here from the amazing brand called Scout Clothing. Love this hat. Fits with everything. Like it's real chill. It's not as loud and obnoxious as some of my other New York Knicks hats, so I can wear it no matter where I go. And then, of
Mhm.
course, we've been talking about these since we first connected with Mathematic Athletics, as we were waiting for these jerseys to get printed. So finally, this right here is my Bronx, New York Mathematic Athletics shirt that they sent. This jersey is incredible. Very, very great quality. A lot of
Mhm.
times when you see brands that are making these kind of jerseys, you don't really know what to expect. But they killed it. Like this is straight up fits like a Mitchell and Ness jersey for me.
Authentic. Yeah.
Exactly. Like authentic with the
Mhm.
stitched letters and everything like that. No iron-ons, better than, the $120 ones you can get at MSG.
Yep.
So shout out to Mathematic Athletics. This is my Bronx one. You'll see Apollo in his Harlem one very soon as well. So
Yes,
shout out
sir.
to them.
Mhm.
So let's talk a little bit, before the guests get here and before Ebony gets here. Let's talk about not this Christmas game, but let's talk about the game before. All right. Us versus the Timberwolves. Obviously, we didn't have OG and Anobi,
Mhm.
and we didn't have Jalen Brunson in that game or McBride. However, I still walked away a little bit disappointed with the
Mhm.
outcome of that game. So, what were your initial thoughts on the game against the Timberwolves? I believe it was on the 22nd.
Yeah, something like that. Eh, it was first of all, for us to be in the game as long as we were in that game, said a lot about this team. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And these guys really fought all the way to the end. Like it wasn't just, they didn't take off until towards the end, and Julius Randle went on that little run where he just was going crazy. Um, but as I said on Twitter, I said when the cat's away, the mice will play. Because
facts.
that's just the vibe that I get out of it. I'm like, all right, cool, you guys won, but let's be real. Two of our best three players weren't there. Let's just
Yeah,
just be honest, and also the clutch player of the year, who in those moments would have absolutely stepped up. I mean, let's be real. Like if Jalen Brunson's there, that's a completely different game, and that's
yeah,
Jalen alone. And then you add OG in it. So I mean, I didn't hate, but I actually was happy to see how much we fought, and we just didn't go in there and get ran over that game. So
yeah.
good.
And that's a great point, because I think the reason I'm upset is because it was so close, like
Mhm.
if it was a blowout, and it was like, our 2 or 3 guys aren't there. But the fact that our guys contended for as long as we did in that series, of back and forth with, Julius Randle pretty much having to have his best game against the Knicks since he left,
Yeah.
was a little frustrating because I was like, man, it was so close. Like we had it in the palm of our hands, and that would have been a incredible victory to go. We didn't even have our best guys, and this is what we were able to do. Which you can still say that, because those guys still put on a heck of a performance. Like
Yeah.
Cat put up 40 and 13, yes, some of his fouling mistakes, that we all continue to hate, and now it's even more frustrating because it's on the offensive end most of the time. And you're
Hmm.
just like, come on, that move gets called every single
Every
time by
time.
you.
Every
Stop
time.
doing it. Like every single time they're going to call it on you. Everyone waits for it. Like the refs know that's how you create distance, so they're looking for it. So that's a little bit frustrating. Um, But seeing him put up 40 and 13 was still impressive. And then, of course, you had Kolek coming in with 20 points, 11 boards, 8 assists, and 3 steals that night, which for me was the highlight of the game for me. Like seeing him, come through the way that he did was super, super impressive. But let's talk about Julius Randle because the last time we played them and JB put belt to behind, Julius Randle was nowhere to be found at the end of the game. Like, did not want to communicate with any of his old teammates. Jalen Brunson was actually out on the court looking for him, and yet he was not there. And so that was the super, super frustrating part, was that all of a sudden, now that they won, and Julius Randle is like Harlem shaking or whatever he's doing down the court, doing his little Latino shimmy, all of a sudden, now he's out there and he wants to dap up everybody. He wants to dap up Mitch. He wants to come and laugh and joke. But when he lost, he was nowhere to be found.
Walk right off the court. Yep.
Exactly. Just shows typical Randle behavior, that we knew as Knicks fans. So any thoughts on that? Like, was it a little bit frustrating for you the way it was frustrating for me?
I mean, like I said before, Cats, we might still play it, man. It really bothered me to watch us lose, especially to the way we lost at the end, because Julius started to flex and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, all right, come on, dude. Like, it's I get it. Like, it's theatrics. You got to play into it. It was your son's birthday. Shout out Kaiden. Happy birthday to Kaiden. It definitely was frustrating, but I was able to chill out because I knew that this wouldn't be the case. But like you said, it does bother me that we were in that game the way we were and then still lose. But it just makes me realize how important OG and Jalen Brunson are, because you know what I mean? Like, we're right there. And imagine if you have those two guys in there, I think it's a completely different game. We might even talk about almost a blowout going our way. You know what I mean? So it's just like I said, that game just proved to me how important those two guys are to this team.
Yeah. And OG would be the huge determining factor, like Cat was already in foul trouble. Julius Randle knew that he could take advantage of Cat, who was already a suspect, defender some nights. And so he realized that he already had that many offensive fouls. So Julius just kept going at him and went straight into like WWE alter ego, like, you not really him, kind of persona against us. But one thing I want to point out from that game is this right here. Let me pull up my bookmarks because I thought this was pretty awesome. And it says a lot about the guy that is running our front office. So let's pull up this clip right here. And then I'll make it full screen and we'll go from there. All right.
He's got to be over the top with his toughness, and I'll say this, when we were in Minnesota at halftime, he was three for 10 from the floor, and I went at him in front of the whole group. And, I can't say everything that I said, but in a nutshell, I said, you've taken 10 shots, the second most on this team, and you only made 3. And 3 or 4 of those shots were air balls. If you're going to take that many shots, you got to make some. So he goes 6 for 12 after, in the second half. He's got 11 rebounds for the game and 8 assists. I was hot, and he walks by me, he looks me in my eye, and he goes, I made shots. And he walked off.
Love it.
So I love that. First, I love it because what is one thing that you and I talked about all the time with Tom Thibodeau was the actual accountability of players, and playing favorites. Mike Brown's not playing favorites. Like, he'll come at you if you're Kolek, he'll come at you if you're Towns, and not just like behind closed doors, like in the media. He'll say, you got to be better. You're a $52 million player. You got to do better. So I love the accountability that he had with Tyler Kolek, but even more so, I loved how Tyler Kolek like took that accountability.
Right.
like that could have
Yeah.
made him go, man, I'm getting corrected. This sucks. Like sometimes when I correct my kids, they're like, oh, I feel so defeated,
Yep.
deflated. Dad called me out. And I'm like, no, this is for your betterment. Like this, take it as good. Like I discipline you because I love you. I care
Hmm.
about you. I want you to do better. So,
Yep.
what do you think about like both Mike Brown and how he's handling the team, but also, what you're seeing and how the team is responding?
I think the team is responding well. And, I was looking at that clip earlier of Matt Barnes, and
Yep.
he's talking about how he doesn't think it'll work with him because um he say he's more of a second guy than the first guy as a coach. And I understand a lot of what he was saying based off of his experience with him there, and seeing that he said that in LA, Kobe and Ron Artest were like subbing themselves in without even saying anything. Like he's too much of a nice guy. Um, I think he's learned a lot from that. You saw it even in Sacramento. I'm not sure what happened there after that. But it's a completely different group of guys here. These guys are a lot more mature. These guys are about each other. You know what I mean? It's a completely different roster. Already without the coach. Doesn't matter who the coach is. These guys are together already because they're
Yeah.
just they've developed a bond. So I think it's important for you to have a coach that challenges you and puts you in certain situations because, like you said, it doesn't matter who you are. You can be Kolek, you could be Brunson. Like I gotta call you out because if I don't see if I'm a player and I don't see you challenge the best player as you challenge me, then I can't respect you anymore. You know what I mean? And it feels like that's exactly the lesson that he learned in what Matt Barnes might have been talking about is he might have been tough with a lot of the other guys deeper in the bench, but he probably didn't say much to Kobe and Ron Artest because they were the stars of that team. And that's something that you have to learn how to you got to give everybody the same amount of leash. You know what I mean? And that's something that also people said about Tibbs, that he gave Julius Randle so much of a leash, and then other guys, if they made a mistake, they get pulled. So
Yep.
it's the give and take of coaching, but what Mike Brown seems to be doing it's working out.
Yeah. And I love that because you're right. A lot of times it was, oh, there's something that you did wrong, and at that
Mhm.
timeout, instead of Mike Brown being like, you're going to take that many shots, you better make them. He didn't
Mhm.
say, you're going to take that many shots, sit. He said, I'm giving you the opportunity.
Mhm.
Don't screw this up. It's a
Yep.
different demographic between that and like seeing Quentin Grimes' shoulders immediately deflate if he did something wrong, knowing he was going to the bench in the Tom Thibodeau era.
Yes.
So you got to give it up to Mike Brown and his way of coaching because the team is really adapting to it. You see every time. It's funny. I was looking at some like old replays and it was like every time a player would come out and like Tibbs is like chirping at him, you could see the player kind of still just keep on walking,
Yeah.
as he's
They
chirping.
don't even acknowledge him. Yep.
Yeah, but now with Mike Brown, it's like they're stopping, they're staying,
Mhm.
they're listening, because it shows not only that he wants to win, but he's also trying to make the players better in the process because he sees something that they're currently not seeing. So
Right.
I
Yep.
completely love that. Shout out to my guy Trippy in the building. He said, I agree. Sometimes you have to go through a lot of trials and errors in order to truly get it right or understand the process. And I
Yep.
agree, and being that we're a Knicks and whiskey, show, you look at the whiskey aging process, cooler climates mean that it's going to take longer for it to actually develop and age. It's just
Mhm.
going to take longer for those flavor profiles to come out as opposed to in those warmer climates, and you get those charred barrels and all that stuff. The heat and the fire bring out some beauty in the products that we enjoy on this show.
Yep.
And so that's what we're seeing when it comes to the New York Knicks. We're getting a little bit of char, a little bit of that Kentucky, Tennessee, like heat in the summer. Even now, with brands like Still Austin in Texas, like even some of that, Texas heat is producing some good whiskey now.
Mhm.
So I love that. And I love to see that our players are developing from it.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Shout out to Nick Yak. Appreciate you so much. Prezi said, this guy, Phil, the whiskeyologist. Whiskeyologist. I don't know if that's a real title, but, I'll
You got
gladly
it
take
now.
that. But I'm pretty sure that a real whiskeyologist is going to come up and school me in a little bit when Molly comes on up and just starts talking about what they are doing. But shout out to everybody that's in the chat right now. Like I said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, retweet this. If you're on Instagram, repost it on Instagram. Not so much for us because we see you guys every week, but we want to make sure we get as many eyes as possible on Oakley, because I'm telling you, this brand is not one that you want to sleep on. And I'm going to give a little story because, Molly's out and back already, so she can hear the story. But I'm here visiting my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law, and she's not really a whiskey drinker, like she's a wine drinker. She'll drink a smoked old fashioned, after we go out, to eat or anything like that. Matter of fact, that's one of the things she told me, because like I would always order one and have her taste them, and she's like, "You be proud of me. I've been drinking my smoked old fashions when I go out to dinner." I was like, "I am proud of you." But she had me pour her some of, the staple Oakley right here. Which that cover is so fire. That gold on the foil is dope. But anyway, I digress. So I poured her a sample of that. Well, it was actually my sample. And so she's like, "Oh, I want to try." I was like, "Okay." And so she grabbed a sip of it and she's like, "It's just burn." And I was like, "All right, let me teach you how to drink whiskey." And so I taught her. And so she had a sip of it again. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is delicious. Pour me some." And then she like gave it to her husband and was like, "Here, pour him some." And so last night became an Oakley bottle share with my family, which was really, really cool. But also not so cool because I want to take most of it home to enjoy in the comfort of my home with my wife. But you win some, you lose some.
Yeah,
but
part of the trade. Part of the trade.
So while we're waiting on Ebony, let's talk a little bit about what we did not see in that game. And that is Miles McBride. Like once again, he's still injured, but we did get some good news today that he's actually questionable for this next game. But what do you think about like how we're performing without Miles? Does this bring any like curiosity of what the future of this is going to be with his contract coming up and us kind of having to make some decisions here? What is your thoughts with Miles McBride coming back?
Man, it gets really spooky. It gets really spooky because I love Miles and I always have, but he's just not a point guard. He's more of a two guard. Great defensive player, but Kolek is just that much better on the ball for us. And it's not like I want to get rid of Deuce, because that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is I don't know how long they'll be able to, or how they'll be able to, especially when Deuce is trying to, get an extension, cycle through that many minutes for those guys, because it's starting to seem like they are needing Kolek a lot more than they're wanting Kolek to play. He's the first guy off the bench if it's not, actually he's the first guy off the bench at this point if it's not Jordan Clarkson. So it's really, I don't know, man. Like I'm the kind of person that I don't want to get rid of guys, you know what I mean? But you can't keep everybody.
Yep.
But I'm really interested to see how they're going to float a lineup of all three of them and give them all consistent minutes. Between, of course, Jalen Brunson, Deuce, and Kolek when he comes back, and how much coach needs what Kolek brings. And I think they can do it. I'm just worried that the front office is going to pull a move out of nowhere, and that's that's the scary part.
Yeah, and I agree. Miles McBride is one of those players that you want to stick around. Like he's developed in the Knicks, even when we had a coach that wasn't really developing people. Like he went down to the G League, put in that work, came out even stronger. But it's concerning because you're like, okay, if we decide that we do have to make a move at the trade deadline to compete with some of these teams, like you start looking at the Spurs, and how they're freaking taking off their chancleta and just beating the living daylights out of OKC every time they play. How are we going to do in a 7-game series against them? Are we enough? Do we have enough? Is our team strong enough for 7 games? And so the front office has decisions to make, and they're going to want somebody, they're going to want a big name plus a role player, and Comme d'Adier doesn't really bring much to the table, that you're going to see people like knocking down the doors, hoping to bring Comme in, and the only other two that we really have besides Diawara, which also, like, I don't know how many people are knocking on the door for half scale Siakam. But I like half scale Siakam,
I like that.
I like
half scale Siakam.
Yeah, I think half scale is dope, and I want him around. But when it comes to Kolek and McBride, I know my guy Lee has a never trade Mitch hashtag, but I'm on that never trade Kolek hashtag. Like, for me, it's Kolek till I die. And so if I have to let somebody go, I don't want it to be McBride. I want both of them, but I also am not willing to let go of Kolek, who we'll talk about a little bit more in a few minutes. But that's just kind of how I feel about, Mr. Tyler Kolek and wanting him here as long as his tenor as an NBA player is available. I would love him to be a Knick.
And like Nick Yak is saying as well, like, and Shaman's coming back too. Like, it's getting really dicey for those minutes at guard, man.
Yeah,
it's a lot of small guards too. So I wouldn't be surprised if these guys try to make a move for a wing or something like that.
Yeah. Shout out to Wes, surveyed 100 people. Appreciate you being in the building. He said, I trust the front office. I was sad to see Quickly go, but we got better from that trade. Facts. I love Quickly, but to me, in the short period of time that he's played, Tyler Kolek is already a better version of Emmanuel Quickly. Straight up, especially watching Quickly now compared to, the progression we were seeing. There's some rough nights right now for Emmanuel Quickly.
Rough nights, man.
So very rough. So, but he said the Knicks can get something good for Yabu and McBride. And we're going to talk about Mr. Yabusele a little bit later on in the show. But I want to bring up first person. It's a familiar face to you guys, Mr. Baxis himself. And the reason I'm bringing him up first is, like I said, I started seeing this brand Oakley popping up all over my Instagram account. And I was talking to him about the Baxis episode, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm really close with Molly. Like, I'd love to get an introduction. I think, she'd be perfect for the show. And so he's the reason this show is actually happening. And like you guys know, he is a diehard Knick fan. And also, if you guys are at home, say a prayer for his daughter. She's not feeling great right now. And so it's a blessing that he's even joining us for a little bit. So I want to make sure that he gets to come up. And then we're going to bring up Molly and Ben and Frank whenever he shows up. Frank is like the cool kid, always shows up fashionably late. So he'll come in a little bit. And Ebony's trying to get some things done too. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up our friend, and I guess now your friend, since he's been here before, Mr. Todd. What up, bro?
Guys, thank you. Yeah, and I'm sorry that I'm popping in and popping out, but we had the toddler was throwing up before, so just got to make sure that everything's holding down the fort.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely priority number one, bro. Like, if my 4-year-old, now 5-year-old was throwing up, I wouldn't be here either. So it makes sense, complete sense. I appreciate you coming on though. So what's been up? How was your holiday?
Everything's been good. Crazy game yesterday, obviously. Yeah. I wasn't able to go. I had family obligations, but a friend of mine went, just had an absolute blast, and was telling me that, being there live, I can only imagine, because I was watching it on the play-by-play on the app. So insane to see, Kolek and the kind of the rest of the bench go off at the end to bring on to secure that win.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm looking forward to talking about that game, because that was one of the most impressive wins of the season, and I was ecstatic to watch that one. But I know, since your time is limited, you work with so many brands with Baxis, so for you to actually take time to speak highly about a certain brand and a certain person from that brand, there's a reason there, so tell me a little bit about when I was like, do you know? And you were like, yes, and let's make this happen. It was perfect. What was your affiliation with Oakley? How long have you known the brand?
Yeah, so I've known Molly for a couple of years. She was an early believer in Baxis, early investor in Baxis, which is just awesome. And what was super cool was a few years ago, even I was able to try, she's owned a lot of this whiskey for years while she was waiting for it to mature. So I had a chance to try some of it, and it was phenomenal back when it was 17 or 18, her first collector's edition with Oakley. Like it's pretty rare for a brand to come out of the gate swinging with a 20-year-old cask strength whiskey.
Yeah.
And that was just exactly, I think it kind of really just fits her ethos for the brand. Like she's out to provide, exceptional whiskey and exceptional experiences and really tie all of that together. So we were lucky when Oakley was first launching with the collector's edition. We had this new technology that we were talking, that we had just kind of partnered with a company called Iridia on. So Baxis basically had the ability to do our own unique molecule, basically. Like it's something that we literally were able to put into a marker, and then like if we add it to the strip of a bottle, like to the seal, then we can basically do a swab and identify like this is an original sealed bottle of Oakley. So it's like the ultimate authenticity component, like as opposed to some companies have tried NFCs or different types of tack strips, but those are a little easier to kind of rip off. Here it was like if you test this, like it can only work if it has this specific ink, and that ink is only in Baxis in our vaults. So we were able to partner with Molly on it. She was the first brand to be like, sure, I'm releasing a 20-year-old. It's a collector's edition. Like it's something that I'm sure people will drink, and I've opened a couple of bottles. It's phenomenal stuff. But we did the first drop of the first. I think it was 12 bottles. Maybe a few more on Baxis directly, just to target the ideal customers and consumers through our system and our channel. Like, we have people use our app, they track what they have at home on their bar. We're able to then say like, okay, you're somebody who's obviously, likes older whiskey, has a budget to spend on certain things like this. So really targeted them, and they sold out instantly. And then Oakley went live, and, just since then has been absolutely crushing it, selling out like all of the regular releases also to the public. She has a 15-year. There's a proprietary blend, which I have a bottle of, but again, I was planning on drinking it tonight until I ended up on sick duty. But yeah, it's really, really incredible whiskey, and that's kind of, I think, the ethos you have from the company is like just like always incredible whiskey, basically.
Ben's in back and he's flaunting that bottle. He's showing it in the background. We're gonna bring Ben up in a little bit so he can show us all how it looks to have a massive collection of whiskey that we wish we all had. But without further ado, I want to bring up Molly and introduce her since you're here before you head out. And then we'll bring up all the other beautiful faces that we'll be talking about the brand. So without further ado, this is the face of the brand, Miss Molly herself. Hello.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Great to see you. I'm a old Knicks fan and a brand new Phil and Apollo fan, and dear friend of Todd's. Happy to see him here. It's a good family get together post holiday, and super excited to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, likewise. We've been chatting, and I feel like, from first email or Instagram, conversation till right before the episode of freaking out, trying to figure out how to get this streamed to Instagram. It's been a smooth and easy process chatting with you. So I'm looking forward to the episode and just having a good time. And like I said, I cheated last night and opened the bottle, and it was absolutely delicious. So I'm excited to introduce people to it. Shout out to the Sip and Spit podcast. They are a new podcast that I just saw on YouTube today, from when they left a comment. So if you guys want, head on over, subscribe. There's going to be some whiskey content out there, but thank you guys for tuning in and watching what we're doing. So Molly, tell me a little, few sentences, just how did you get your start in whiskey, and what made you go, I need to start my own brand?
Well, I'd love to say that I was sitting next to Todd in a Knicks game courtside and just wanted something good to drink with our popcorn as we were watching a game, but that's actually not how it began. But hopefully we get to that point soon, because there's nothing I like better than some good salted popcorn and an incredible whiskey while watching basketball. Actually, I came from some very different industries, some very different backgrounds, and really started just looking at the history out of curiosity of this industry. Met some phenomenal people. Todd was one of the early ones, going back several years, and love the folklore, love the true American roots of this product, really sort of fell in love with the experience, the culture around it, to tell you the truth. And initially, I was just started to source some great barrels and gradually accumulated a few, and then a few more, and then a few more. And honestly, it never had occurred to me in the past to even drink whiskey or bourbon. I grew up in Minnesota, and here right now. I listened intently to the conversation about the Timberwolves game. But we needed that because we have the Vikings. So kind to give them that. But I didn't grow up, drinking either one, whiskey or bourbon. I drank everything else, and so I really just started to think about why that was and why I really didn't feel really it appealed to me or invited me or like I was included. And so as a result, more I started talking with other people, certain groups who maybe historically, traditionally hadn't been spoken to in the space, the more that I felt like, there's something here. And if we can bring an incredible whiskey to some groups that have previously, historically, not been invited quite as much, that's really what we were up to and wanted to do. So that's what really brought me into the industry. And it's been a phenomenal ride, and we're just getting started. So happy to be here and share.
That's awesome. I love it. And what makes me happy is like a lot of people, their story is, well, I've always known whiskey, like have this backstory, and it's like, all right, and then it makes you feel like, okay, I could probably never succeed in this industry because I didn't grow up in Kentucky and I didn't, smell the morning corn, that dad was fielding every morning, So hearing stories where it's like, this is something that I just fell in love with and I knew that I wanted to do it and I did it, it is such a cool story because it just shows that it doesn't matter where you came from. Like your upbringing doesn't change your trajectory. Like you can always pivot and do something different than what's expected of you because of where you're from or, what you grew up in. So I completely love that. Shout out to Todd. He texted me privately, was like, yo, kid's crying, gotta go. I might come back if I can. So he snuck off. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up another familiar face that you guys all know and love. And he was on the show a few weeks ago with me and Apollo and Peter from Rare Character. This is my guy, Mr. New York Knicks, Mr. Up Rocks, Mr. Hey, every time I post on Twitter, it's a bottle that you wish you could have and you can't, Mr. Frank Dobbins himself. What up? What up?
What's up, everybody? Hey, Molly, Apollo, Phil.
What's going on, man? There you go.
What up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I had to come correct again, so I got another Knicks shirt. This is opening night from this year, the opening night Knicks shirt from the very first game of the season, and it's a good season so far. I'm loving it.
It is. And how was your Christmas? Was it good?
It was good. It was relaxing. I got to see family. I just spent the better part of this morning hanging out with my niece and my nephew, and that was an adventure, but they loved all the presents that they got. They were super happy. And now it's time to relax and talk whiskey and Knicks with good folks.
I love it. I love it. So shout out to you for being on. Shout out to everyone in the chat showing love from the whiskey community, from the Knicks community. Shout out to my big brother in the building. Matter of fact, while we were talking and I was telling the story about my mother-in-law, my wife texted me on the side and said, by the way, we're watching right now. Mom was just looking for your bottle. I was like, well, too bad. It's right in here with me in the room. So can have it right now. But Frank, Molly, like, when me and Molly were talking, we were like, all right, Molly is an old Nick head and killer whiskey. And she seems to know the Avengers of, the whiskey community. So I was like, let's just make this episode something that it's like straight up Thanos. I want to freaking grab the crystals all over the place, like straight endgame it. So let me know how you got affiliated and connected with Oakley.
For sure. You know what? It's a shame that he just left because actually Todd, I believe, was the person that connected me with Molly initially. And, for whatever reason, we didn't get our stars aligned right away. But when we finally connected, it was like an immediate just appreciation, mutual appreciation. I loved the messaging of what she was doing. I had an opportunity to try the whiskey, and it was some of the most phenomenal whiskey that I've had over the last couple of years. Like, it was in the Uproxx like top 10 for last year. It's been in so many blind tastings that I've had, and it's always performed well. So the fact that she had great whiskey and just such a great spirit about her, we just instantly bonded. So we've known each other now for a good time, and we've just been in constant conversation about how we can help each other, the things that we see in the whiskey industry. And I've just been a huge fan and supporter of her journey and everything that I've seen coming out of Oakley. So, I'm just happy to be here again to have an opportunity to share a platform with her and give her flowers once again.
I love it. I love it. Like there are some people where I'm like, okay, I follow them, but when they're giving reviews, I'm like, I know they're just doing this because the bottle was delivered to their doorstep. Like I know it. Like their tasting notes are word for word with the same exact printout that company sent me. There's no variation, no difference. But when it comes to like you and Todd, I'm like, okay, these guys speak my language. These guys I trust. And when it's coming from multiple sources I trust, I was like, okay, Todd's telling me I need to know about this brand. Frank has promoted this brand. I got to give it a shot. And I'm so glad that I did, because like you said, it's delicious. Like from the first pour to the last pour. Like sometimes, like I tend to drink like 3 or 4 different bottles a night because I don't like having more than like an ounce and a half. I start to get bored with the sip,
Fair.
like, I'll pour an ounce of like 3 different things that night while I'm watching the game, or 1 per quarter, 1 ounce per quarter. And because I get bored of the taste. But this one, I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to get bored of it. And I don't feel like this bottle is going to last very long. Like, so what am I selling to get more of these? Like what's myself so that more of these come on. And so we're going to continue to talk Knicks in a second, but when I was talking to Molly, we had another guest that was going to come, but they're on vacation, living it up on the beach. And she was like, my friend Ben wants to come on. I was like, all right, I don't know much about Ben. Tell me about Ben. He a Knicks fan? She's like, not really, but he owns like every Oakley bottle like that's been released.
Ever
And I was
produced.
like, all right, so I'm going to bring a guy up on my show that's going to cause FOMO for me. All right, got it. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up Mr. Ben Dixon because I want to get to know who this guy is himself, because he was already flaunting the bottle in the background. So what up, Ben?
What's up? What's up? Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Appreciate you coming on and hanging out with me and Apollo and the rest of the guys and ladies on the panel right now. But so I know who you are and the guests know who you are. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, so I'm a connoisseur of the beverage. So I had a chance to meet Molly, traveling around the country. We kind of met in Nashville last year, and actually she presented some spirits to me and along with the group. And after that, I said, I want to get to know a little bit more about Oakley. So she and I kind of sat down, got together, and she gave me the story. And after that, I kind of fell in love. So everything that she produces, I said, let me try. So, and I have not been disappointed yet. Awesome. And I do have every bottle I think she's produced so far.
Well, that's awesome. So that means that me and you are going to have a hangout very, very soon.
Let's do it, bro. Let's do it.
With my trusty little bottle to bond glass, and we're just going to have to sample the collection. Mm-hmm. So without further ado, let's go into the first pour. So that we can enjoy it. We'll talk a little bit of Knicks, then go to the next pour. But I want to start with the staple, the one that most people can get their hands on online right now, that they can enjoy, that they can divulge in. So tell us a little bit about this one right here. It's a 113 proof Timeless Journey, and this is the staple right here. So this thing is absolutely beautiful. I'm a sucker for branding, like straight up. Like your whiskey could probably be absolute trash and I would still own the bottles because they look so cool. But luckily for me, that's not the case. So Molly, give us a little breakdown of this pour right here that we're going to dive into.
Well, I heard that your mother-in-law likes it and has very good taste. So that's the first thing we know about this and if she drinks it all, Phil, there's more of that in your future. So please tell her to pour freely. So that's a blend that we created a few months back, and really wanted to come out with something that's representative of the flavor profile of Oakley. It's a limited edition. It's cast strength. We had a really nice sort of 6 to 7 year old set of barrels, into which we chose some dustier, older barrels, and created something that's very drinkable. It's robust, but super smooth. I think it's very approachable. So to people who are newcomers and would like to just kind of get introduced to a good product, it's a great place to start. So if you want to give it a taste, as you said, Phil, it's 113 proof. Super smooth, neat, also great over an ice cube or two. And I think it's nice, at the start of the game, for example, you want to sort of pour this as you're welcoming people to the house, and it's a good crowd pleaser. This has gone to a lot of bottle shares, and what we hear from many people is it just gets drained because people keep going back to this particular pour. It's just flavorful, very, very good. You guys maybe already have some tasting notes on this, but it's a good, delicious, easy drinking pour.
Yeah, no, I love it, because one thing I was thinking of this one is like, it's so complex, but a lot of times with like complex whiskeys, you're like, I'm not going to share this with people that aren't full on in the whiskey industry because they might not get it. But I feel like this is so complex, but the flavors are so standout that it doesn't matter if I'm with a whiskey enthusiast or with someone that I'm really trying to get into the whiskey game. Like, I feel like on both ends of the spectrum, they would enjoy this and absolutely want more, which is perfect example. Like I said, my mother-in-law, she's starting to, enjoy whiskey more. And this was a pour that she was like, this is absolutely delicious, because it is. What are your guys' thoughts? I'll throw it to you first, Ben, and then Apollo, then Frank.
So yes, like Molly said, it's a smooth pour, 113. I normally take it with me to a bottle share. Actually, for some of those that don't know bourbon, so I feel as though that they can actually kind of sneak in there and they can get the flavors of it. Some, they get different flavors from it, but for the most part, it is one that I found out that most bourbon drinkers can drink and they enjoy it. So it's light, it's smooth, very very tasteful, tastes very good. So this is one that I carry with me to most bottle shares that I go to.
It's awesome.
He carries it with him at all times. Let's
For the most part,
you're never not without a bottle of this.
That is correct. That is correct.
I don't know what happened to Phil, but I believe he was going to ask me.
Trapped in the Matrix.
Yeah, he's in the Matrix once again. That happens every now and then. But I assume he was going to ask me about what I thought about it. This is
Apollo. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Am I alone?
I can hear him.
I can hear him.
Hear me?
Okay, it must be
You
me.
Can't hear me, Frank? Oh boy. All right. Well, we're gonna have to run it back in a second. All right. So anyway, very smooth. I love the way it doesn't burn you. It's a really, really like you said, it's a light pour. I'm like I said, I'm new to this. I'm not an expert at all. I'm very new. He definitely has brought me along the way here, Phil. But this is one of the smoothest ones I've ever had. As I'm developing my palate with this, it's definitely something that I can sit here and pour and not mix it with anything and just sit here and just have a drink. So that's just me personally how I feel about it. But yeah, can Frank hear me yet? Can you hear him? He still can't hear me. Okay,
Frank, can you hear him?
I can hear you, Ben. I can hear you, Molly. I can't hear Apollo.
Okay. All right. Well, somebody tell him that he can go into his what he thinks about the pour.
Yeah,
Paul,
so
asking for your
go ahead, Molly.
Now it's
your
my turn.
official review. Now, true story. Frank may have just been in the warehouse on one of the attempts at blending the perfect initial blend for us. And we got to our second round. There was another round after Frank left where I thought, you know what, I'm going to take this up another level. So then when he ultimately ended up tasting it, he was like, damn, did we do this? Well, actually, there may be like an 18 or 19 year in there that wasn't in there the last time.
Fair, yeah. Because when I first tried the finished product, what kind of struck me immediately was that it has this really creamy, approachable mouthfeel. The flavors are still intact. You get so many layers of just decadence, but it's, to Ben's point earlier, that it's really smooth and approachable for people who aren't accustomed to drinking whiskey every day like professionals are. So you can bring this around people who aren't typically whiskey drinkers, and they will find an entry point and say, okay, I pick up some cherry, I pick up some caramel, I pick up some of those oak notes, and they're able to really latch onto it and appreciate what us whiskey drinkers enjoy about it, all year round. So that was the thing that really surprised me the most, is that it can play both sides.
Oh yeah. What I love about it is, like you said, someone that, and we say this all the time, like on the show, tasting notes are always so catered to your experiences, catered to things that you've tasted. Tasting notes aren't going to be similar. But you can get the idea of something, like smooth is not a tasting note that is different for somebody, like it's either smooth or it's not, it's either harsh or it's not. It's either got, a decadent flavor, whether you think that decadence is, like you said, cherry, or you think it's a different kind of, stone fruit, whatever, but the decadence is going to be there, the salties, whatever. And so like with this one, I just know that pouring it, people are going to get an appreciation for it. They're going to enjoy the fact that it is smooth, that it is got, some sweet notes, but it's not like, oh, this tastes like candy. Some people don't like that, like they lose the actual bourbon, flavors that they know and love, but that's not the case with this one. This one gives you all of those things. You get that warm oak that you love in whiskey, but you also get that little sweetness, like an orange peel or something, that you're just like, all right, this is absolutely crushable, and there's very few bottles that I say that are crushable, like there's some bottles that I've had on my shelf for years. It's like, yeah, the first few times I loved it, it's kind of worn off on me, but then there's some, like for instance, one bottle I called crushable this year before I had this one. And that was the Pursuit Spirits Triple Mash barrel proof release, because that was just like, all right, this doesn't make sense how good this is, and then I had this one and I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to last long. This is definitely not going to be around for the playoffs. So we'll definitely have another episode just to replenish. But I love it. I absolutely love it. All right. So let's talk a little, because some of the non-whiskey heads in here are like, all right, talk ball, shut up. And I'm like, all right, we'll talk ball a little bit, and then we're going to go into the next pour. And, Ben, I hear you're not a whiskey head. So this is one thing you can do. Like a lot of people that are like new at whiskey bottle shares. Yeah, that's what I was getting. Those are the notes I was getting. You could just do the same thing when it comes to NBA. Be
all
like,
right. I can do that. I can do that.
Yeah, just the only thing you have to say is like vanilla, caramel, and coats
Go
them
Knicks.
out, but that's how you say
Yeah, go Knicks.
All you gotta say is go Knicks, Jalen Brunson, or Tyler Kolek, and you're good.
Got it.
Those are the tasting notes for the next few seconds of the episode.
Okay.
All right, so Frank, I'm gonna throw it to you, because we were just talking about that game that we lost against the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
But how, Kolek really stepped up in that game, looked really promising, but how he was getting disciplined, for how he was playing in that first half by Mike Brown, which sparked what he did in that second half. So me and Apollo were just talking about how important it is to have this new face of Mike Brown. Early in the season when we had you on, we were talking about how they looked promising under Mike Brown. But now seeing that there's so many people on Twitter that were like, this guy just talks a big talk. He's not going to like actually produce. And now they're all being shown wrong. Like his talk as a coach is showing to create a winning culture for the Knicks and a change in players. So what are your thoughts on what you're seeing right now with Mike Brown and the development of not just young players like Kolek, but seeing the McHale's change, the Karl Anthony Towns being held accountable and seeing change there and so forth?
I mean, it's incredible. We talked about it last episode, but like seeing things unfold with the Knicks as we're getting this culture established with Mike Brown has been beautiful to see. The main thing for me is that the bench is now deeper than ever. I mean, we've had a deep bench to begin with, but those guys weren't getting run. So now seeing Kolek go out there and is doing his thing, you know what I mean? And seeing some of the centers that we had moving around, like the fact that we're able to play these guys in a game where, Jalen Brunson is down, you got the next guy stepping up and making it competitive, like a game against the Pacers, or we saw against Cleveland, yesterday, how, I mean, we just had a lot of firepower. Even when the starters go to the bench, you got a guy like Kolek who can still produce. And I think he had 20 points in that game, 20 and 11, or that might've been the game before, but he's been on a hot streak. Yeah. But he's been on a hot streak. So seeing the culture that Mike Brown established and seeing that kind of like produce, bear fruit, it's great to see. I love that we're really starting to click now and that the ball is rolling for the Knicks this year.
Yeah. And I'm going to throw it to Apollo, and we're going to talk about the game you were talking about yesterday, where the Cavs got Cole for Christmas, and it was beautiful to watch. It was a tight game, tighter than I would have liked at first. But what were your initial thoughts on that game, Apollo?
I mean, they're a good team. They try to challenge us as much as they can. Donovan always he takes the challenge of going against Brunson. He always has big games against us. The story about him wanting to come here and then not getting here. So it was always a big game whenever he plays against us. I really wish Frank could hear me. He can't hear anything I'm saying. But yeah, I mean, it's just unfortunate that that they've been having a lot of injuries, so it's they have the excuse of, hey, we're not 100% yet, so which I don't like. There's always excuses. But it's, to me, I liked how we finished the game, because once you see Garland dancing around and all of that, doing all the crazy stuff, I'm like, okay, at some point I know we usually settle in towards the end of games, and that's happened every single time that we've played them, especially of recent. And to me, they handled business, especially when it mattered most. What can we not say about Kolek at this point? Stepping up when Josh gets injured. And it looked like a bad ankle roll. So but like I said yesterday, I'm like, sometimes it's a blessing in disguise. Unfortunately, some guys got to get hurt for some things to happen, because I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure if we win that game if Tyler Kolek doesn't play. This is just a lot of things that he brought to that game last night that just weren't happening until he was out there. So that personally, I just feel like we handle business, and we're starting to see a lot more from the guys that we haven't gotten to see last year, that we're getting a lot of opportunities to see now, like Tyler. So man, it's good to see.
No, I agree. All right, Frank, I'm gonna have you, because I think it's so like awkward for you to like have to sit through conversation that you don't hear anything on. So I'm gonna have you drop out real quick and then click the link back and hop right back in, just to see if you can actually like hear everybody that's on the call, because I don't want you to have to sit for like 2 minutes at a time just going, all right, what's happening here?
No, I'm sure Apollo's making great points. That's why I'm mad over here. But I'll be right back. I'll join you.
Frank just said it in the private chat. He said, I'm gonna have to watch this back just to know what Apollo's talking about. But to your point, seeing us go up against the Cavs. Yes, they might have some minutes restrictions and stuff like that with Mobley and everything like that. but this was also the game that Darius Garland looked most like himself. This is the first game that Darius Garland has played where it looked like the old Cavaliers that we saw last year that were pretty much on a OKC style run in the East last year. So yes, it's one of those things where he may not have, fully had, everything that we expect from seeing Mobley, play 30 something minutes, but we did see, Darius Garland play the best game that he's played all season. After coming back from that injury, he's playing a lot more like himself. Apollo, just say yes to see if Frank can hear you.
Yes. Mic check.
Oh, we're good now.
There we go.
Finally.
There we go.
We back.
I was like, I'm gonna have to bump your songs or something if I want to hear Apollo.
Please do.
So what's your thought, Ben? What's your thought? This is your key.
You're muted.
And he's muted. I threw you a lob. I threw you an alley-oop.
And I missed it. So my thoughts. So I'm just trying to catch up with you guys. I only saw them in the playoffs last year. Looked really good. I just felt as though too much went through the point guard, and Big Boy just didn't come to play like he should have, man. That's what I got in the playoffs last year. Now, I'll probably check it out later on the season, but right now it's football time for me.
All right.
This is a guy who doesn't watch us, and he's able to see that from far away.
Nailed it.
I'm saying.
Right. So with that, I'm going to throw it to somebody else because, when I realized that we were having Molly on the show, who is being a representative for the women in the whiskey scene and straight up killing it. Someone that I met a few years ago through Nick's Twitter, and her voice was just one that kept on just was music to my ears anytime she spoke Nick's. And she's also a whiskey head. And so she didn't know if she was going to be able to make the show. So I'm going to send her some samples after the episode. But when I heard that she was available, I was like, okay, we got a queen in the whiskey industry. Now we need a queen in the Knicks industry to be part of the episode. So she was handling some life and some family stuff and was able to join us now on the episode. So I'm going to bring up my queen from the Knicks community, my homegirl, Ebony, a.k.a. the Mad Nick fan. What up, Eb?
Yo, Eb, what's going on? I think she's muted. There she go. Yep.
Nothing's changed. You see you button still kicking my butt. What's up, y'all?
What's going on, Eb?
How y'all doing? I hope happy holidays. I hope all is well with everybody.
Happy holidays. I want to introduce you to Molly, my guy Frank, my new best friend in the whiskey community that we're going to have a bottle share together, Mr. Ben. And this is Ebony right here.
Ebony,
nice to meet you guys.
What's up, Ebony?
All right, Eb. So we're talking about the game. So I'm going to throw it to you. Cavs got Cole. And we brought home a dub on Christmas. That felt good. That felt good to not actually go into a game thinking that we could get stomped out, which in seasons past, that was a possibility. How you going to get the Knicks on Christmas and still lose? You on Christmas and MSG. But we didn't see that yesterday, So what were your initial thoughts on that game last night?
I loved it. Like you heard Spoelstra, he kind of gave the storyline to our season that I think our season would look like. Just a team with the will to win. You love it. 2 comebacks. We had to come back down big twice in that game. That shows you right there. No, we're not going away. And the biggest thing was that they did it with Brunson a lot of time on the bench.
Yep.
So how many years the non-Brunson minutes been a problem for us?
Yep.
So and it shows the difference. And instead of us going back to Brunson and forcing it, we trusted others to help us. And it didn't look hard because they did it as a team. The ball movement, player movement. It looked different when Brunson was in the game earlier because it got more predictable.
Yep.
The Cavs were willing to let Jalen Brunson be the killer he is. They stayed home though. No driving kicks on us. But then when we didn't need that, they said, okay, let somebody else do what they can do, show what they got. And it looks different because now they need each other as a unit. You have the ball moves. You don't know where the point's coming from because it's coming from everybody.
Yep.
In that fourth quarter, multiple players hit shots in those clutch time minutes. It wasn't Brunson, Cat. It was Kolek. It was Cat mixed with some Brunson, Clarkson.
Jordan Clarkson.
It was a mix, and that's what I've been preaching for this team. We have so many weapons. It should never be predictable.
Facts.
It should never be predictable. So you get team ball. So it's always not going to look pretty because this is what you're going towards to the playoffs. Is you're practicing right now for the playoffs.
Yeah.
You're practicing to be the team you want to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Playing all styles, finding out which rotations work because the season is long and it's unpredictable. You don't know who's going to be there. But if we establish a winning style of basketball, it won't matter who's there as long as we do it together.
Facts. It like the chat said, it's good to have the visor queen back on the panel, dropping nothing but Dylan hot fire. Hot fire after hot fire. But it's cool because, Ben was just talking about the playoffs, and what was wrong with us in the playoffs was the predictability of the point guard doing too much and the big guy not doing enough. And what you're saying is, wait a minute, it's a new coach, new system. How many people told me I was a complete moron for thinking that Tom Thibodeau being gone would change the trajectory of this team? Well, look at it now.
Phil, they killed me for it.
I know. They crucified us. I remember you and I being on the panel and being like, having to channel through how many people called you and I haters for wanting Tom Thibodeau out, And so to those people, I still love you, but you were wrong. Look at, how Ben, who is not a Knicks fan, can see what you did not see. And now things are changing and it's a team game. And that leads me to this perfect transition. Speaking of a team, there's a bunch of other players that came to hang out today with the Signature Series. So I want to know which one Molly would like us to go through next. These are part of their new 15-year series. So can you tell people a little bit about your 15 and which one you would like us to sample first?
Yeah, of course I can. So the 15-year is the second collector's edition. Single barrel cast strength. We dropped 6 barrels into the market pre-Christmas time. And I fully agree with Ebony. Woman after my own heart. She understands team. She understands creativity. She understands the true spirit of the holidays because it was a giving game where there was a lot of sharing and a lot of allowing multiple people to take the lead. And that is very true in this collector's edition because out of all of the barrels, it's kind of hard to pick one's favorite. But if we want to kind of track with the game, I'm actually going to say, let's go to number 1 because, you start the game very upbeat, very energized. It's a very effervescent kind of a pour. It's light but flavorful. It actually clocks in at the highest proof of the one we'll taste today. It's 135. Nonetheless, it's very pleasant. It's the like high energy quarter 1 where your hopes are up. And I know that it was all of the emotions were experienced in the game. But this is you start with high hopes, and so this one's the perfect one to jump into here.
I love it. This is gonna be great. I'm looking forward to this. All right. Cheers to y'all.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
That sounds like the Josh Hart barrel right there. All the energy, doing the little things. I like that.
That's right.
Let's hope he's not too hurt.
Oh, man.
Right.
Ooh. Oh, that is good.
It's good.
That is dang good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's delicious.
I can tell.
Ebony, I can't wait to send these to you. You're going to love
I
it.
can't wait to have it. You tell us good. I hear
All right. So as all of us are divulging in this, let's talk a little bit more about that game, because that game was huge. To me, that was the best win of the season, hands down. Like hands down, the best win of the season. We saw so much happen in that game, and the thing that stood out to me most was Tyler Kolek, like, and how good he is this year. It honestly makes me kind of even more upset with Tibbs, because we could have seen that last year when we needed, bench scoring, when we needed facilitating off the bench. Like, we could have seen that development. So it's kind of like, that's some criminal behavior that, like, if he walks the streets of New York, he should be arrested for, because he could have cost us a chip. But anyway, enough about that. But what I loved about that game with Tyler Kolek, let's read these stats, because they were super, super impressive. So in his 31 minutes, he had 20 points. He had 3 steals. He had 8 assists and 11 rebounds. Like, that is, oh no, that was against the Wolves. It was even better. It was even better. Yeah, because I was like, where's his block? So his stats were even better. He had less points, but less time. He played 24 minutes, had 16 points. He had a block. He had 9 assists, which is crazy in 24 minutes. And he had 3 rebounds, but he shot 4 for 5 from 3. Like, he was just on point. And then 55.6% for the night. So when me and Apollo were talking and we wanted to know who our player of the game was, it had to go to Tyler Kolek, because he was just super impressive once again. So, Frank, what are your thoughts on what you're seeing in Tyler Kolek?
I mean, it's found money, right? Because you got Deuce McBride, who's still on the mend and coming back, and then you have a guy who can step in and give you Deuce McBride quality, really playing, to a level where you don't compare him to anybody else on the roster. He's really giving you something that we haven't had for a long time. Yep. So having 16-9, the big block, which Donovan Mitchell is still salty about. I mean, he had a great game, and seeing his development, he's had a couple of good games in a row. You just talked about the 20-point performance before this.
Yep.
So I would love to see it continue going, and I would love to see him continue to keep that role carved out as we get some of those bench players back, as we get a guy like Deuce McBride back in the rotation.
Yeah. You know what's so cool is, besides just the stats, it's seeing how even the veterans respond to his leadership. Like, it doesn't matter if he's talking to another rookie or he's talking to a vet. Like, he talks with authority. Like, he knows the game, and he's going to voice his opinion. He's going to run that offense. And it's so cool because so many people were like, nah, Jalen Brunson has to be, running that point style position. But you look at the moments that they actually have on the court together, and him being on the court makes Jalen Brunson look even better because his game is even more effortless. Like, those catch and shoot threes that Jalen's getting, he's nailing them at such a high clip because it's allowing people to be drawn to where the offense is moving, which is with Tyler Kolek, which allows JB to sneak off here and there. So he's made some great, great plays, and not just offensively leading, but defensively, that poke away in the fourth quarter to get McHale the shot that he needed, the confidence to drive, even though he missed that last shot, it led 2 people to guard him, which left Cat undefended to be able to catch it off the rebound and shoot it back up. So it was like he was making impactful plays from the start of the game to the end of the game, and he doesn't shrink back in those big star minutes. And that is so important. Like, you can't teach that. You can't teach that fearless capability to say, I don't care that the game's on the line. I know who I am as a player, and I know I can do this. And so he was standout when it comes to that. But besides him, and I'm going to throw this to Apollo and then Ebony, this game reminded me once again of the game at the Cup, where Jalen Brunson and everyone watching has to be honest and say, we do not win this game without these guys. And that's Jordan Clarkson, Mitchell Robinson, and Tyler Kolek. Like, there is no way you win the game without those 3 guys. the offensive rebounds, and I'm gonna throw it to you, Eb. I see you burning up with your love for Mitch. Apollo's gonna go first because we're gonna, have a little structure here. But I know you love Mitch, and Mitch's impact on the boards was detrimental to us winning that game. What are your thoughts, Apollo, on these three and the fact that they continue to be what gets us to win when our starters just can't do it?
It's so important, man. We talked all year last year about having a bench that was reliable, a bench that took the pressure off of the starting lineup to have to be in the game all game long, just to be able to stay in the game. Now you have guys like Kolek. Now don't get me wrong, like I told people from the beginning, Jordan Clarkson is not going to be on fire every single game.
Yep.
But what I do love about what Jordan Clarkson brings is his intensity. He's going to attack every single time. There's never going to be a play where he's going to take a play off. He's going to try. Listen, he's not the greatest defender either, but he's going to try his hardest every single time that he's out there. And of course, Mitch, we saw Mitch's value in the playoffs. This is what more can you say? You know what I mean? The guy is just, he doesn't have to put a point on the board in order for him to impact the game, like extremely positively. And of course, we started talking off about Kolek. It's every game is always something. It's something new. It's almost like, yo, what? So what do we have to do to adjust to this? Because now we have to adjust to Kolek. Having a guy like Kolek on this team, and the fact that we can trust him with the ball in his hands with Jalen Brunson on the floor is astronomical for this team. We were looking for someone to just be able to trust with the ball in their hands when Jalen wasn't on the floor.
Yep.
But now you're starting to get that with him on the floor. That's huge. That's really, really big. And that's something that unfortunately guys like Deuce don't really bring you. So, like I said earlier, it's a blessing in disguise. Deuce being out and Josh getting hurt last night, it opened this opportunity for Kolek to consistently at this point for games. It's not just a one game kind of small sample size kind of thing. It's a lot of games now that he's showing you his value and how much this team needs a player like him. So they're absolutely, those three guys, we don't win that game without those guys. And there'll be a lot more games like this throughout the season. Yeah.
You know what I love about what you were saying is Jordan Clarkson's not perfect. People that expect him to be perfect is ridiculous, but we didn't get him to be perfection in the entirety of, his time out there. We brought him because we know that when he clicks, he can be a loose cannon and destroy teams, and he's got that confidence that even some of his shots where you're like, what do you do? Oh, that went in.
No. Yes.
No, ballerina spinning in the air 6 times. What are you doing? And it's like, swish, like, holy crap, like it's crazy to watch. But what I love about him and I love about Kolek is when they don't make the right read or they do mess up on a play, you see how much it affects them. Like they take it personally, like they're doing something wrong to the team. They're apologizing to their teammates. They're beating themselves up and they're like, okay, but they're not like moping. Like Julius Randle would make a mistake. The game wouldn't be his and he was out, like he was just going to cry the whole time. These guys are going to take it and go, okay, but how do I become better for the rest of the game? And so that's what I love about that. And like you were saying, when it comes to Kolek, he's soaking up everything that he's watching from Jalen Brunson like a sponge. Like he's always had the basketball IQ, but he's studying Jalen Brunson offensively and using and imitating his footwork and confidence to drive to the basket or take the shot, which he wasn't having last season because lack of, actual touches of the ball. But now he's so confident and he's gaining all these things that you see in Jalen Brunson, but he's also learning from the McBrides and the McHales on how to do it defensively. And so what do you really want in a point guard coming off the bench? Kind of the same thing that the Celtics wanted when their point guard would be out and Pritchard would step back in. That it was kind of like they weren't really missing a giant step. Yes, it was a step, but it wasn't a giant step because he was an imitation of what was already there. And so, God forbid something was to happen with JB and he was out a few games. We have a guy who can emulate his style of play and has been learning from him game in and game out. You couldn't say that about any of the other guys. You couldn't substitute in, Miles McBride and feel like you were going to get that same thing, or Jordan or Shamit or any of those guys. So Kolek is like that piece that we've been wanting. And to me, the same way that Ebony and Lee have had the never trade Mitch, it's going to be never trade Kolek for me. Like, let this guy die in the orange and blue.
Never trade Mitch.
Never trade Mitch. Never trade Kolek. All right, Ebony, this is your time. I know you've been burning with desire since I said the word Mitch. So let us have it.
I thought I'm good. The mute button be kicking my butt, yo. I'm sorry. But no, I'm gonna save Mitch for last, because first I just want to get this out the way. I'm gonna apologize to Tyler Kolek because I wasn't a believer, but I misjudged him. I did misjudge him because, like my bro Lee, who's in the chat, he is a student of the game. You could tell he watches a lot of film. He's always a gym rat, and with work comes confidence. So it's never a frozen, deer in the headlights kind of thing. You're never scared of the shot because you believe in the work. You've put it in, pulse. You've done that. So we just I have to apologize because I was wrong about him, and he's learning. And I was skeptical about him because I felt the game didn't slow down enough for him at this point in his game. And it's definitely playing is the best teacher. You talk about and working on the other end. On defense is all about will and determination. Just how much you want to not let somebody else score on you. Just believing you not going to score on me. I'm not letting that happen. So you see a lot him being more confident on that end, knowing that he doesn't really have to do it on his own just as a unit. I just have to be a good team defender. And you saw that in the game. It was a time where back-to-back two players that are not known for defense made big defensive plays, and it was on back-to-back plays. It was in the second quarter when we were making that other comeback. You had Kolek get an offensive foul, and then you had Cat get an offensive foul. So I had always said that with Kolek, he just had to make it hard for people pause. Like, he make them go to their second and third move. Don't just let them blow by you. And you see him doing that. He's making good rotations. They on time. They on point. He's where he is. He needs to be on offense. And that comes with playing. And a coach believing you. You can make a mistake because you learn the most from your mistakes. Mm-hmm. What's the Kobe quote? Hold on. I'm gonna get it. That, what is it about? Okay, but I know the Pat Summitt quote, that's for sure. You can't always be the most talented or the most gifted person in the room, but you can be the most competitive. Mm-hmm. And that is what Kolek is doing. Just competing. And I apologize. I read him wrong, and I'm gonna be the first one to say sorry. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So he has a fan in me because I appreciate players that play like that just keep coming at you. Okay, I made a mistake, on to the next. I love it. I love players with short memories. Mm-hmm.
That play against Donovan, that was a defensive play that saved the game. Like, it was one of those plays that looked like it was a guaranteed bucket, and Kolek all of a sudden got a burst of sonic energy and straight up said, nope, not happening. And he knew immediately when they called the foul, he knew it was all ball. Like, he said it straight up. He said, nope, all ball, challenge it right now. Because he knows the grind that he puts in, and he has confidence in that. So I agree. So let's hear, before we go into the next pour, let's hear your Mitch praise. Your Mitch praise.
Okay, definitely gonna go into that. I found the Kobe quote that I was trying to get you. It says, once you know what failure feels like, determination chases success. Mm-hmm. So, once you start making mistakes on court, you don't want to feel like that again. You don't want the feeling of letting your teammates and your team down like that again, ever again. So you work on it. So it's not a problem. You work on it. I'm going to work on this defense. I'm going to work. If I can't be the best, I'm going to play angles, because defense is just really angles. I'm just going to beat you to the spot or play you to my help. Like, help me, please. That's okay on defense. You
Yeah.
know, that's okay. So, but for my guy Mitch, I always tell all the time, there's only one ball. What are you going to do when you don't have it? How are you going to impact the game when you don't have the ball? And this is why I've been a Mitch fan for so many times. And I felt like the meme, where's the one person with the sword and there's mad people coming at you. I was with all of that over Mitch because I understand his impact and that what he does, everybody can't do. And everybody that people try to trade him for, he shows them why they shouldn't say that ever again. But again, people who have their doubts about him, he has a couple of bad games. Now he's washed. The season is very long. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Some people have bad games. The ones who have the least bad games, those are called superstars.
Yeah.
So role players, and if you get somebody that you don't need the ball and people have to scheme against, that's a plus. You can't get that from many players. People literally have to gang rebound against this man. That stops fast breaks. You talk about his lack of offensive game, but I've been saying for years I would take an offensive rebound from Mitch and Jalen Brunson 3 over him and his offensive game. I take that trade off. A wide open Jalen Brunson 3 or for Mitch
Rebound,
Mitch's
yeah.
offensive rebound.
Mhm.
I take that. And
Yeah.
doesn't need the ball to do that. Sets great screens. Get some of our players the easiest baskets they get all games from his offensive rebounding and his screen. He's
Yeah.
a big that moves. You talk about his perimeter defense. When people come off the pick and roll, he makes them think. He makes everybody hesitate. They think about it. That hesitation is enough to make his teammates help him or recover or contest. And that's what we've been doing that's better in this stretch and why I gave them to the All-Star break as grace as a team because all this takes time to be muscle memory. Because when you're playing as a team, if one person off, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I like even better than his offensive rebounds is his media persona. You know, like his answers are so short and like so snippy. You know, like Fred Katz was asking him like, "Yo, do you think that like you know you can get hot streaks as a rebounder?" And he's like, "No." And
No.
he's like, "So you don't feel that way?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "You don't feel like you can get on a hot streak? Like you're on one right now?" He's like, "No." Like it's just like he's a no nonsense kind of guy. But then he'll come out in a giant like orange rimmed out truck.
Huge truck. Yeah.
Here coming out of MSG, bigger than the streets of New York, you know. So
you know how much I love Mitch, and you know I always say the saying that I've been saying since I've been doing content creating that you don't, and how I view sports and especially basketball. You don't need a bunch of superstars. You just need a bunch of people to star in their roles.
Yeah.
And we have that. And Mitch is at elite at what he does. People can be superstars just for being good on the offensive court. Why can't that be the case for the other? We have a defensive playmaker, a defensive star on that end. We have multiple. It's two sides of the court. We're going to quote again, go to my girl, RIP, rest in peace, Pat Summitt. You already know defense and rebounds win championships.
Yeah.
You don't get rid of that. You hold on. Somebody that don't have to have the ball at all and has teams scheming, worrying. Why would
Pay that man?
Yeah, pay that man, or like Walter White said, he'll be leaving for the bag this summer if we don't. So
pay that man.
Never trade that man. Like you know it.
We pay that man. All right. So like you said, you don't have to just be a star on the offensive end. You can be a star on the defensive end, and that should get praised. And so just like that, this show is about basketball, but it's also about whiskey. So we've just talked about one star. Now it's time to talk about another. And Mr. Ben loves this star more than he likes the other star. So we're going to let Molly let us know what we're drinking next. And then Ben can tell us how amazing it is since he has a better collection than all of us. All right.
Oh, come on.
All right, Molly, which one are we going with next?
I'm going to suggest that we kind of track along with the game from yesterday, and you know, when you're 17 points down and you're going in for halftime, and you need to kind of reset. You know, you're gonna reach for barrel number 2. This is a little bit darker, a little bit.
So
more...
we have 6. We have 1, 6, and 7.
Okay, great. Yeah, 6 also fits the bill.
Okay.
Let's reach for number 6. You know, little bit moodier, little bit more serious. It's appropriate for a reset. You know, sit back and take stock. As Ebony said, think about what you're going to do when you don't have the ball. What the team? What are you doing in your reset? And this is an extraordinary pour. I think you will enjoy it very much. And Ebony, apologies. You will be on our distribution list, my friend, for future samples.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
All right, Ben. What? Tell us a little bit about this one that you've experienced.
All right, so I've had this one before. I didn't pour it right then. This one right here is very surprising. So when Molly first introduced the 15 to us, we thought she introduced barrel 3. And barrel 3 was absolutely phenomenal. But then I would tell you guys, when you get into these 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7, they just kind of jump off the page. And that's what happened when I tried 6. Very bold. I would say almost pushy.
Yeah.
I would say pushy. Very flavorful. Let me see what notes I get out of. I want to say molasses or honeysuckle.
Yeah,
honeysuckle. But it's what I get is it just pushes, and I like it. It just stays with me.
I like that. I like the it pushes, because we were just talking about, you know, the game, and to me, if this was like a player on the Knicks, this would be like Jordan Clarkson. Like this is one of those, like, you know, you see him coming through the tunnel, fashion forward, like he just everything he does, he like pushes it to excellence, you know, like and it doesn't have to be like the first bottle that we opened, you know, where it's so many flavors that it appeals to so many other people. Like this might not appeal to as big of a crowd. Like some people might not like Jordan Clarkson, but the ones who do like Jordan Clarkson really like Jordan Clarkson. Like I wanted him here in a Knicks uniform for the past 3 seasons, and everyone thought that I was like off my rocker. And so when we announced that we were actually signing him, I was on cloud 9. And so that's like this. That's what this is to me. It's like it's that pour that when you drink it and you like it, you don't just like it, like you love it. Like this is dang good. This is really good.
Good.
It's interesting you say that, Phil, because like hearing Ben describe it, immediately my mind went to OG Anunoby. I'm like, it has broad shoulders, like it asserts itself. You know what I mean? Like it's an enforcer in some ways. Like I'm thinking OG all day.
That's a good comparison. That's a good comparison.
Very
like
bold.
This is one that will stop you in your tracks. So it goes very good with the OG Anunoby comparison. I like that.
Yeah. I know Jordan Clarkson is he can be very cold and hot at times, but I feel like he's very comfortable with and his effort on D has surprised me. But he competes on that end. He might not be the best, but he tries.
Yeah,
he tries. He puts the effort into it, and I like that he's comfortable. Again, just play your game. Sometimes it looked like he was hesitant. Do I shoot? Do I pass? You know, new game. You want to play well for your team. You might overthink yourself, overhype yourself. And I feel like he has found his way, and like you mentioned, pushed the pace. In the start of our run, he was the starter of our run, pushing the pace, taking bold shots, you know, playing his game. Just get us some buckets. You have the free reign to get us some buckets. That's what you do. So I know he's having a ball.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Man, this is such a good pour, Molly. I really like this.
It's nice. I like this.
I'm jealous.
You gonna get them all, I promise you. I promise you. If I could have gotten it to you in the 24 hours that I knew you were going to be on the episode, I would have. But Santa didn't reply to me when I hit him up, so he said, "Bah, I'm busy." So
I get it.
I love it. I love it.
Phil, we know that it's special to Molly. Let's get her take on it.
Yeah. What do you think of batch 6?
Batch 6. This one is really velvety. It's got a great velvety mouthfeel. Super smooth, 133 proof, and it's got a nice flavor profile. I agree with pushy. I mean, I agree with confident, bold. Definitely very flavorful. It's well rounded. And it's got some complexity, but it's definitely one to kind of sit back, take a pause, savor, and make your plan. Know that you can still come out strong and be resilient, be undefeated.
Yeah. You know what I love about this is
That's
like
Flex on him.
like you were talking about the proof. What I love about this is that I love high proof. To me, it doesn't matter. If it tastes good, it tastes good. I'm not one of those proof Nazis that's like, oh, it's not 140. I don't want it in my collection. That those guys have sparked up in the industry over the last 2 years. But I'm also like not someone that's only going to buy based off proof, because I drink whiskey with a ton of people. Like if Frank comes over, I'm going to have whiskey. If like when me and Apollo first met and he hadn't been a whiskey connoisseur, like we're going to have whiskey, we're going to hang out. And so for me, what I love about this is, as someone who likes high proof, it's delicious, but it also doesn't drink excessive for its proof. There's some bottles that I'm like, man, this tastes so good, but at this proof point, I can't share it with certain people. Like this is not one of those. I feel like it drinks under its proof, but not in a less flavorful because it drinks under its proof. But it's like, it's good, but it's not the burn that some bottles give you just because they're at that high proof, and that's pretty much all you taste. So I love it. I love that it drinks under its proof, but has all the flavors that you would love from a high proof.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So let's go into the next little category. I'm going to do this fun little one because I've had it on the show for the past 2 weeks and I've completely forgotten to do it because we've gotten so deep into the Knicks talk, where we're going to have a little game of Knictionary for those of you that are Knicks fans here, whether on the panel or in the chat. And if you're in the chat and you have something to say and you want to come on up and say it, you are more than welcome to come and drop some Knicks takes or ask Molly any questions about Oakley. So I'm going to put the link in the chat right there. And if you're on Instagram and you want to join and you don't see this because you're not on Twitter or on YouTube, just drop me a message and I'll send it to you personally as well. But we're going to play a little game of Knictionary where we're going to have you guys, based off of the pictures here, try to decide which New York Knick this is. And this one's a little bit easier. I wanted to make it a little easier for you guys. All right. So some of them are pretty hard, so this one's a little bit easy. So I'm going to throw this up and let you guys do your thing. So I'm actually going to pull it on the side screen because I like seeing your guys' reactions more than I like just having it on top, so I'm going to grab this little file right here.
I'm ready.
And we're going to go.
Apollo locked in.
Let's see what we got.
Apollo's ready. He's got this. All right. No, it's not that one. It's going to be week 10 right there. Week 9. Yeah, I was supposed to do this 2 weeks ago and finished the episode and was like, well, that didn't happen. And then last week I was like, all right, I'll do it now. And that didn't happen. So now it's definitely going to happen. All right. Here we go. All right. Here we go. Boom.
Ooh.
Oh, that's easy.
Yep. That was quick.
Come on.
How you feeling, Apollo? How you feeling, Ebony?
I don't know. I guess
I think I got it.
Come on now. All you gotta do is this right here. LJ running up to him.
Got it.
All right. How we doing, Eb? How we doing?
Got it.
I'm sorry. Roses and petunias.
I got it. I got it.
All right. So Frank said he got it first, so I'm gonna let Frank go, and if he didn't, then Apollo can go.
Oh no, he told me the answer, so I'm sure he's got it.
we were sharing homework. I got this all day.
Y'all cheating in my class. I feel you.
This is definitely Allen Houston, baby.
Yes.
There we go.
Mhm.
Allen Houston. We got Al Capone at the top. We got Jeremy Lin. So Al, Lin, all the Houston teams, the Rockets, the Astros, the Texans. Al, Lin, Houston.
That was good.
That was a good one. That was fun.
I see what they're playing.
You know, he was one of the reasons I wore my basketball number, but for some reason Al did not come. I kept saying Capone. Capone who?
That's why I didn't get it at first either. I'm like, Capone.
And that's why you always got to go, okay, none of the players' names are Capone that ever played for the Knicks that I know of. So what other piece makes sense in the equation? That's what's cool about Dictionary. You find something that makes sense anywhere in the rotation, and you're able to, find it. So that was awesome. Appreciate you guys. That was good.
I didn't get it right away, but I blame the Oakley.
I didn't even have none.
I like that.
That's that high proof getting to Apollo tonight.
Yep.
All right. So let's talk about this real quick, and then we're going to go into the next pour. This right here, and this is a segment that I don't know if we had this when you were on the show last, Frank, but I added this because I felt like it was necessary. And this is my run that back. Now I run that back segment of the show. So I either see something or I hear something that I'm like, no, we got to draw attention to that. So this one was a Twitter post this time, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So there's this post right here, okay, that says the all whites starting five of the NBA. First, that's crazy because if you throw in any other race, in that, like, the comment section's going crazy, but the all whites, that's allowed. So that was funny. But then the comments had me going crazy. I was dying. All right. This one right here. This made my day right here. Tyler Kolek is already making the all whites greatest of all time team for many NBA fans.
I see nothing wrong here.
1,000 people agree.
Exactly.
Right.
Look at all
That's
those
a tough
likes.
squad.
Look at all those likes, 23 retweets, and there was actually even more. See, I'd take Kolek over any of these guys. Like, that's crazy. That's some crazy talk over any of those guys. You got Dirk Nowitzki in there. You got Luka. You got Larry Bird. So Tyler Kolek Hive is very, very deep, and I'm very thankful for that. Because that's been my day one that I've been pushing is my Tyler Kolek agenda. So I'm very thankful to see that I'm not the only one that is that delusional to love Tyler Kolek that much. But another topic, James Dolan became Santa Claus and started handing out game balls at the end of the game the other day, which, what do you like? This guy, rarely shows his face, and then all of a sudden,
I didn't even see
like,
that. I'm glad I didn't see that.
Oh, you did it? Well, let me ruin your life real quick.
Oh, Lord.
All right. Here's Dolan Claus.
Oh my Lord.
The star of JD and the Straight Shots right there.
Right.
It's just so funny that, like, he doesn't show his face for, like, most things, and then all of a sudden, like, the Knicks are thriving and he is here. But without further ado, I see someone in the backstage who is one of my favorite people in all of the Knicks community, and his name is Lee Escobedo. He is the Latin assassin from the Nick of Time show. So he's going to come up and give us a little take on what he's seeing from this last game with the New York Knicks before we go into the last pour of the night and then predictions for the next game. So without further ado, if you guys don't know who Lee Escobedo is, he is not only part of the Nick of Time show where he drops bombs every night in the pregame, in the post games, but he's also an incredible writer and has an amazing Substack where he's been writing for Bleacher Report and so many other people. And all of his articles are fire. So shout out to my guy, Lee Escobedo. What up, Lee?
Family.
Guy.
I didn't come on and take over the show. I just wanted to ask one question to the entire panel, everybody here. With the year closing down, the Knicks playing great, I want to know what everyone was thankful for this holiday season. It's been a tough one this year, and for many reasons. And I just wanted to hear what everyone's thankful for, just at the Christmas spirit. Keep it going, keep it good vibes going. And I will start first. I am thankful this year for my sister Ebony coming on this podcast and returning. Everyone, that life is like seasons. We all have ups and downs. My sister's been going through it lately. I'm not to get into the details, but I've been keeping in contact with her, and to see her smiling face on this show has really made my Christmas. It's been the best gift that I've been able to get, and there's a few reasons for that. I'll land my plane so everyone else can go. One, she's taught me just about everything I know about basketball at a higher level. The reason I've been able to absorb and learn X's and O's and play calling is because I was challenged by Ebony. Just being on a panel with her and hearing her talk and hearing her break down the game wanted me to become a better watcher and a better learner of the game. Second, she also does so in such an accessible way. Her personality, her charisma makes you want to listen to what she has to say. And she does it in a way she's never talking over you. She's talking with you, teaching you the game. And that made me really develop my writing style, my speaking style, to try to do the same. Sometimes I had to slow down. JLS asked me, hey, can you define that real quick? Because I don't know if the audience know what you're talking about. I'm not at Ebony's level yet, but I'm trying to get there. And then on a personal level, she's one of the dearest friends I've ever had in my entire life. She's someone who has looked out for me. She's called me out. She's made me a better person. And she's made me a better friend. And she is top 3 favorite people I have on this earth. I love her dearly. And so when I saw her on this panel, I had to hop on and give some flowers.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, we can definitely bounce around with that. And I'll go, and then Apollo, Frank, Ben, Molly, for me, the Nick of Time crew and Apollo also know it's kind of been a crazy year for me and my family. With some things of like the selling of our home and things kind of falling apart there, and just some crazy seasons that we're in. But we've had some really, really great friends that have really like stuck by us through the whole thing. Specifically a family called the Boyds, constantly there to uplift us, to, question, how things are going, to pray for us, and just be kind of like beacons of light in every single season that we've been in this past year, which makes days like yesterday go, man, things are crazy, but like they're helping us put things into perspective, that regardless of how crazy things are, there's so many things to rejoice about right now, and sometimes without quality friends like that in these seasons, they can be rough, they can be tough. So I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for opportunities to, still do things that I love, even in the midst of the craziness. And so that's one thing I'm thankful for. Apollo, what up?
Man, it's been a rough year. For those that don't know, I tore my Achilles in July on vacation with my family. Playing basketball, of course, with my nephew, trying to show him like, listen, I still got it, and listen, it's on video, so I still got it, but
it's a good game.
It just didn't end well for me, unfortunately. But what I'm thankful for is my family, my wife and my kids, man. Being able to be home. I work a lot. You know what I mean? I'm always at work. Being able to be home with my family and to take my kids to school and pick them up from school, it meant the world to me. Like I've been able to appreciate them in a way that I haven't been able to do so because I've been working so much. And just being home and being around them and spending time with my wife and because a lot of the time I come home from work and I'm tired. I'm a manager. If you guys don't know, I'm a manager at at apartment complex. I'm a maintenance manager. So I'm always making orders and contacting vendors and a lot of stuff that fall on my shoulders at work. So when I come home, I just like to relax and decompress. And sometimes I take it a little bit too far, and I worry more about decompressing than I do about my family. And in that process, it allowed me to realize how much I needed them to decompress. So, thanking God for my family. And being able to see them in a different light at this point in my life is the most important thing that I could ask for this holiday season. So yeah, man, that's it, man. My family, my kids, my 2 boys that run my nerves all day long. But I wish my dad was there for me the way I am for them. You know what I mean? So that's a blessing for me.
And that's for your family, not for you. Because,
Facts.
because I appreciate your family, you know, like with the long schedule that you have, you know, your wife, my wife, giving us these opportunities to like still do this, you know, like not begrudgingly, but as support, you know, to be like, yo, you love this. No, it's not knocking down the door with, you know, people throwing money at you to do this, but it's a passion of yours. And if it's important to you, it's important to us. So shout out to the wifeys. Frank, what up, Mr. Uprocks?
Yeah. For me, this year has been pretty steady, pretty quality. Very happy with the things I was able to accomplish. I'm thankful for connections. You know, Lee asking this question, I appreciate you throwing the alley-oop and giving everybody an opportunity to express themselves. Phil, we've been connected for a long time, and being able to connect with you, you know, doing this podcast has been dope. Apollo, likewise, listening to your music and connecting with you through the podcast has been awesome. Ben, you already know, Black Bourbon Run is how we connected, and I'm very, very thankful to have that connection.
Absolutely.
Ben's a great gentleman, and I'm very happy that we got a chance to get a lot closer this year. Talking about Molly, I could say so many things, but I'm just eternally grateful that we were able to cross paths in life because we see things in a very similar way. And then, Ebony, you are speaking to my soul with the Mitch talk right now. I mean, I think that Mitch is the pillar of the Knicks. Where would we be without Mitchell Robinson right now? You know, if you think about where the Knicks would be without that man on the roster, there's no replacing him. So being able to make all these connections and many more, you know, with family, obviously love my family, my mother, my father, my brother, my sister-in-law, my niece and my nephew, and then my extended family, my friends. I'm just very grateful this year for connection.
Yeah, I love that. And speaking of, you know, connection, it's like so many people are so tight with their connections, you know, that it's like, nah, these are mine, you know. And one thing I love, you know, one thing I love about Frank is like, nah, if you're my people, you know, like, why can't we all get something? You know, why
Pass the
can't we
rock.
all, why can't we all grow from this? You know, and so I'm very thankful for that connection and the authenticity, you know, in the person you are, and the fact that what you are online is not different from who you are behind closed doors. Like, you're just a solid dude through and through. So I appreciate you. And then speaking of Black Bourbon Run, you know, that's something I've been dying to go on this thing, you know, like, so this has to happen. Like, keep watching through social media and I'm not okay with that, you know. So next year, Nick's Nightcap needs to be a part of this Black Bourbon Run because there's no reason for us not to be. You know, so let's make that happen. All right. I'm using Ben as my source.
You got it, bro. You got it.
References.
You know, Ben said,
hey, Ben said, hey, Phil's there. Let's do it.
Is Frank the Tyler Kolek of the bourbon community?
Pretty much.
Most improved player.
He drops downs on everybody.
There you go.
I like it, man.
All right, Ben, what about you, brother?
All right, so hey, I want to thank Lee for leading with this, you know, because it's extremely important that because sometimes we kind of forget, we get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, you know, we just forget to pause and just say thanks. And so I am grateful. I am so thankful for the holiday season, and my youngest daughter, she actually lives in Jersey now, so you may be seeing me in New York. You never know. So she came home, and so I was happy. I had the opportunity to be with all of my family, my two girls, my grandkids, my son-in-law. And so we all just kicked it this week, you know, and just been together. So that's been a blessing to me. And then just to echo on what Frank said, it's extremely important to have an outlet because we get caught up in the hustle and bustle every single day. And so with Black Bourbon Run, the guys and the girls to just give me an outlet to kind of communicate with, to kind of run around with, chase bourbon, taste bourbon. You know, we have Friendsgivings and things like that. So I am greatly appreciative for Black Bourbon Run. And last but not least, the young lady, Molly, she kind of brought me on and kind of introduced her brand to me. And we have a really good relationship, a good friendship. And, you know, we get a chance to chop it up each week. So I'm just so thankful to have her in my life.
I love that. All right. And then Molly, the one who brought multiple worlds together.
here we are. Well, and I also want to thank Lee for the question. Really lovely. And everyone so far is actually giving a gift in their answer. So, Apollo, I really encourage you to play your answer for your wife and kids because that will be a gift to them and the best gift that you could give them. I grew up in a little tiny town in Minnesota. I'm here right now. And we were 614 people. Every time that I'm back, I'm really reminded of the heart and soul of this community, of this town. We actually had a fundraiser for the local elementary school. The church hosted it, and we all went in and sang carols together. And it was full up, and we were all singing together, and in the spirit of the season. And that was such a reminder of what it feels like. And I was blessed and fortunate to grow up in this little tiny town where everyone's here to help and everyone pulls together. And my experience in creating Oakley has been very much the same. We're really building a village, person by person, welcoming people in, and it's just been an absolute gift and a blessing that I get a chance to meet people individually, one by one. My phone is full of messages, and people have my personal phone number and reach out all the time. And we're building family, and one person at a time. So it's through a shared passion. And Phil, you and Apollo and Ebony clearly, also have a passion for a sport and being a part of that and following a team. And where you have those things and can share those things, we find an affinity, we find a collective effervescence, we find those things that really bring meaning and joy to our lives. So that's what I'm most grateful for, and happy to celebrate it here tonight with all of you.
Thank you. We appreciate you letting us have a little glimpse into it and be part of it. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
All right, Eb. Besides Mitch, what are you thankful for?
Y'all know, like I said in the chat, if he was to go, he would go. I appreciate his service, It's all about the front of the jersey for me always. But why is he here? Let's get this chip. But I just wanted to say, because Lee was trying to make me cry. 2025 has been super rough. But I like to think that I'm a competitor, and just like the Knicks and the Cavs, even though you may be down, I'm on the run. So I'm excited to see 2026. I'm super thankful for my family, my parents, like my aunts, cousins. I'm an only child, but my cousins are like my siblings because we grew up together. So my family is very tight knit. We spend basically all the holidays at my grandma's. But just my little family, also my Mr. My son keeps it interesting. Until today, I'm trying to watch the Nick game, part of the Nick game I missed because Christmas yesterday. I couldn't really lock in. And I had to duck a VR. I'm ducking VR. Why he's on a Nick game? I'm trying to focus on the Nick game. I see arms coming this way. I'm like, oh no! But he keeps me on my toes, and I wouldn't trade him for anything in the world. And I just want to say and we talk about connections, the Nick community, just and especially my KOT fam, having another outlet. Somebody that connect with that has the same passions like was mentioned is huge. And doing it with respect, understanding we're not gonna always agree, but it's still respectful. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate this Knicks community, Twitter community, the social media community. I got to meet a lot of y'all in person, and all the DMs and messages. Yeah, I hope I seen it. My phone a little wacky, but the ones that I did see, I appreciated them all. You don't know what your words and kind words have done. When I came here on to podcasting, I was tired of the box score watchers. I was tired of going to certain channels and telling that they didn't watch this game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not how the game went. And it was like that with a lot of channels. So I said I try to do my part. and try to do it on a simple level that teaches the game so everybody can understand. You know, people when you play basketball, people think you're better than them sometimes when it comes to this. And I never wanted people to feel that way when conversing with me. So
I love that.
Right.
You know, Eb, I'll tell you straight up, Eb, it's never come off that way. You know, since the first time we connected on Twitter, and I was like, "Yo, I need you on my show." You know, since that point, it's never been that way, and I think that's one thing I've always loved. You know, about the way you speak about the game is that you're passionate, but you never speak at people; you speak with them, and that's a quality that whether you're in, you know, the Knicks content game or even in the whiskey game, you know, there's sometimes, you know, I'll see someone, you know, on social media and I'm like, I gotta unfollow because I always feel like they're on this like pedestal of like, let me tell you how great I am in this whiskey industry with my collection and my connections. And I'm like, yo, that's not, you know, that's not fun. You know, like I don't even like your tasting notes, you know, like unfollow, you know. So I love that you've never been that way. Just like Frank's never been that way. And obviously Molly, Ben, Apollo, Lee, you know, none of y'all have. And so that's the fun thing for me with this show is like finding the diamonds in the rough on both of those spectrums and trying to bring them together. And it's what makes
if I'm sorry, because if I may say, and you do it so well because like it's mixing two things, especially that I love to get together. I used to tell people I changed a lot, y'all. I changed. That my major in school was drinking at one time. You know, that was basketball with a minor of it. Like
relatable.
Major was basketball, minor was a minor. Nah, I'm just playing. I just joke around with people. Like you mentioned, other good-hearted people that you could laugh around, connect with. It was nice meeting you all tonight, and can't wait to try the samples. Like Bart Scott, I can't wait. So thank you, Phil and Apollo, for making this happen. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So before we get off, we're going to go and we're going to try this next pour. All right. Saving the big boy for last. Barrel date 2007, bottled 2022. And this is a 131 proof as well. Tell us a little bit about this one, Molly.
This is a 131 proof, barrel number 7. Save this one for last because you know, I think it can carry you through beyond the successful game and you know, into the later part of the night when you're put your foot, you know, your feet on the footstool and you put on your official Knicks plaid cozy. You saw it here first, and you know, sort of sit back and enjoy the victory, and reflect on all the special moments. So this one has some surprises. It's got a few very interesting notes, unexpected. It has its own personality. One thing that is very nice about this, and I think the reason that it does kind of allow us to kind of coast beyond the game and into the evening. Nice long finish. It's very balanced across the board, but it's got a nice long finish. It's just kind of like a long buttery finish that is a particularly special element of this barrel.
I love it. It smells delicious, so I'm excited to get into it. And since we have Lee up here now, and Frank kind of killed that last one of the dictionary too quick, I'm going to do one more. Because why the heck not? I didn't do one the last 2 weeks, so
I need redemption, Phil.
All right. All right. This one's a little bit harder, so let's see what y'all got. While we sample this and then give our tasting experience. All right, chat. This is for you too.
I got it.
All right. Lisa,
you got it already.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it.
That second one's messing me up. I already know the first and the last two. The second one's messing me up.
Well, and you should be able to get it if you got those 3.
Yeah. My brain not working today.
All right, Mr. Lee Escobedo, that was mad quick, which is why I threw this one in here because I wanted to see how quick you could get this one. So, without further ado, what do you got, buddy?
As someone who lives, born and raised in Dallas, this player was both a Maverick and a Knick, Derek Harper.
Derek Harper.
Rick.
We got Dare, drug abuse resistance education up here.
Yeah, I got that.
We got Mr. Rick Moranis right here in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Dare.
Oh, Rick.
That was Archie.
That's the one that messed me up.
We got a harp right here. We got the Her album cover.
Yeah, Her is great.
Rick,
I know that. Yeah.
Her.
Oh,
The Harper is what got me.
Yeah.
I knew that was her, so I kept saying Drachi because I'm like, that's Archie, right?
I got the Dare. It was the Rick that got me. Rick
that got you.
Got
so,
me.
you know, the Dare Harper, you know, that's why I said, you know, with these dictionaries, you just got to find the pieces that you can connect, and then everything else will make sense.
Terrible.
So,
Both of those were good.
Listen, like I said, I blame the Oakley. This is
you know, like,
that is so good.
So as the person that makes those dictionaries, I don't really like know how to like experience the opposite side of like how it'll be until I was in Dallas, you know, and I had my microphone out in front of the Dallas game, and I had some people come up trying to do it like, yeah, we're diehards, been diehards. And they went like 0 for 10. And like some of them were so easy that I was just like, all right, don't tell me you're a diehard when you don't know the most like iconic Knicks players that I like spelled it out for. And like the first 3 were like elementary school level. Like these were a little bit harder, but they couldn't even get those. So I understand it not being as easy as I may think it is, but it is what it is. So, but
Bill,
this
I got
is a great pour.
I got a challenge. I want to see some of the more obscure Knicks make it into the dictionary. Like I want to see Lou Amundsen on the next one. Like I want to see you really go deep and try to stump some of these Knicks fans.
Hey, that's a challenge I'll take. Ask Lee. Like he came in the chat one day and was like, I want to see a Andre Bargani one. And we have that next episode, and Andre Bargani one. You know?
Yep.
So I'll get whatever you want. You want to text me a list of like crazy like nicknames, I will definitely put it out there. So
that's a name I wouldn't have got that because I'm allergic to that name. I won't even say that man's name. I refuse to say his name.
If I see Andre on here, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself.
If I see him, I'm gonna shoot a 3 with mad time left on the clock. That's what I'm gonna do.
He's probably the most hated.
If I ever see him, I would just probably go, why?
Prezi wants to see a Marty Collins one. All right,
give him the Clyde voice. Like, what are you doing?
What was he thinking?
All right, so now I'm gonna throw this around to everybody that had the samples today. So Frank, Ben, Apollo, what was your number 1 out of the 4 that we had?
Ooh, I'm going last.
That's not fair.
I'll go first.
Go ahead, Ben.
I'll go first. Out of the 3 that we've had, the last one was the best one to me.
The last one.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right, Apollo.
Me, I'm gonna go with the signature blend.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
I love it. All right, Frank.
I'm putting my flag down on 6. I like 6.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna join Ben. I'm gonna go with 7. Like,
dude, Phil.
Yeah, I was definitely like a fan of all of them, but I feel like 7 just speaks my language. Like that one was just one that I'm like, all right, so Oakley.com. Yep. All right, there's barrel 7. All right, here we go. But I love it. I absolutely love it. That's the winner for me. But one thing I will say is that signature series is one of those ones that always needs to be on the shelf. Like that is definitely a, welcome to my whiskey collection, taste this and get put onto this brand kind of bottle. So I absolutely loved it. And me and my mother-in-law will be enjoying it for the next 6 days. So, it is what it is. All right. So starting to be 10 o'clock. Thank you to the 420 something people that are still rocking with us live right now. We appreciate you guys. if you guys can, please do me a favor. I am putting the information for Oakley Spirits in the chat right now. Please give them a follow. Please check out what they're doing. Visit their website, pick up a signature series, test one of the other blends. But that is their website as well as their Instagram. And as we start wrapping up the episode, Molly, what do you guys? I know that someone like you always has something cooking. So what can people look forward to when it comes to Oakley?
Thanks so much, Phil. We do have a few things cooking, actually. We have a few very special events that we're doing in 2026. We are also doing some special things with some charities that we are speaking with now. And most importantly, we really let the whiskey kind of decide what's on deck. So it's the ultimate decision maker in terms of what we release. And we're very fortunate that we are not super prescribed and structured in terms of what we're doing. So we know we have some special drops coming up in 2026, and the bourbon will tell us the exact order of those and what those look like.
I love that. I love that. And can people find the events that you're going to be part of on your guys' Instagram?
Absolutely.
Okay. Awesome.
Yes.
And where do most of these events happen?
So far, we've done something very special in New York City, a couple events there. We've done Nashville. We've done several things in Kentucky. So we're gonna be branching out into some smaller towns across the Midwest and then over to the West Coast. So wherever you are, Lee, as well. I don't know where you are, but wherever you are, we'll be there. So just let us know.
That's awesome. So we might have to hit you up and do something like charity focused for an Oakley Spirits, Nick's Nightcap, Frank, New York City, like New York playoff watch party, where profits go to, an organization that we, all agree with and want to see change in the community from, because I think
to pay Mitchell Robinson's contract, that would be great.
Yes.
Yeah, so it'll be like this much will go to starving kids, and then the rest will go to Mitchell Robinson.
Right? Yeah.
Great idea.
I appreciate you, Molly. Thank you so much.
Likewise, Phil. Thank you
Ben,
so much.
what about you, man? What can people, where can they follow you and see what you're up to?
So I'm on Instagram, Sticks and Bourbons. I love a good stick with my bourbon as well. So you can actually follow me there. Now that I am introduced to you guys, you'll probably see me following the Knicks a little bit closer. You don't be surprised if you see me at a game.
Oh yeah.
Let's go.
I would love that. I would love that. And we gotta, since you're part of the Sticks crew, we'll have to have a cigar together, because
my man,
I'm all about that. So
let's do it. Let's
make it happen. So I just put his Instagram right there. Sticks_and_bourbon. So follow him, support him. Because actually, no, that's not yours.
So it's gonna be Sticks_bourbon.
Sticks_bourbon. Yeah, don't follow that person.
Don't follow him.
Don't follow that person. I don't know who that is. I saw their hand and I'm like, that's not my guy. Sticks_bourbon. Oh yeah, of course. I get there and it's a Life of Lux bottle. Of course, that's your page. All right.
Well, if you go to the very next one, you're gonna see a whole lot of Oakley.
No, it just means you're good stuff. Shout out to my guy Joel at Life of Lux and everything they're doing. Frank, what do you got going on that people can continue to support?
Yeah, so I'm over at Uprocks, the head whiskey writer over there. You can find me on Instagram at Burb Your Enthusiasm. Going to be doing a lot of really cool things in 2026. Just trying to take the whiskey world by storm, much like Oakley has already done in 2025. So we're going to keep the momentum going. And follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, follow me on TikTok. If you don't follow me, I still love you. Just drink good bourbon.
I love that. I love that. All right. So before we head out, what are your guys' predictions on this game coming up tomorrow night, us versus the Atlanta Hawks? I'll throw it to you first, Apollo.
Atlanta's been shaky recently, so I think we should go in there and take care of business. Um, uh, I don't really know if I don't even think Porzingis is even playing for them right now.
I don't think so.
He's not. Yeah, he's not. We just got to go in and take care of business. Don't have what's this guy, the lollipop kid,
Trae Young.
Trae Young. Yeah, I don't even know his name anymore.
Yeah, I call him
Trae
Dirty
Young,
Lollipop too.
Dirty Lollipop. Yeah, don't have Trae Young rolling the dice on center court again. I don't care. Don't start the F Trae Young chance. All it does is it boosts him up.
Yep.
He loves it. He looks for it. So just go in there and take care of business, regardless of if the chance or not. Like this is a game that we should definitely win.
Yeah.
No. Don't go in there acting like you're the better team. Play like you're not. You know what I mean? Like I always say, play like you're not the better team. Yeah. And you absolutely can come out with a victory this game. So that's what I think.
No, I agree. This one's in Atlanta, so hopefully there's no Trae Young chance there. But it was kind of crazy. My wife and I don't remember where we were. We were leaving we were leaving somewhere in, I think it was North Carolina or somewhere. Mm-hmm. And it was because we were in a cookout drive-through. So we're at a cookout drive-through yeah. And we're waiting on our hush puppies, and this random like scraggly looking white boy starts coming up to the car, and I'm like, "Yo, what's about to happen here? Like, who is like what's he been sipping on that he thinks he's like able to just walk up to someone's car window like that?" And I saw him say the F word, and I was like, "What?" And so I said, "What did you say?" And he's like, "F Trae Young." So he saw my Knicks jersey on. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, all right, bro. Okay. I was like, you still doing that? Like, this is crazy. Like, it's time to move on.
It's time to move on, man.
From that one.
Like 5 years old, man.
Yeah, I just saw that word come out of his mouth, and I'm like, yo, what is this like 19-year-old random like shaggy hair dude looking like Sideshow Bob like saying to me? And then when I caught it, I was just like, oh yeah, okay. Like, yeah, buddy. And his friends were like, yeah. I was like, all right, cool. Social media, gotta love it. All right, Eb, what do you think about this game coming up?
I'm good. Yeah. I like Apollo was saying, I call him dirty. Like, I can't stand Trae Young. My favorite current player is Steph Curry. Like Steph Curry's my guy. So them comparing him to Steph used to drive me nuts. And then him trying to make it a rival with us just solidified it for me. Yep. So yeah, I just think we play our game. That's the versus with everybody. Again, trying to practice to be the team we want to be in the playoffs. And that on both ends. You got somebody that can score a lot of points. How do you play them on defense? And who do you have with whatever players are available? You get what I mean? Because we don't know who will be available just yet for the game. They said, I think I saw Miles Deuce being upgraded. So
questionable. Yep.
Yeah. So like we don't know, but it does. That's what we're working on. It doesn't matter who is in the game. We're going to play our game, and that's what together as one on both ends. With Tibbs, it was we're going to play the next man up type vibes, but the next 10 up, not maybe the next 8 up. Not it wasn't really team. It was the next 8 men ups. Like if you wasn't in that 8-man span, 9-man span, you wasn't really playing too much. And then when we needed them in the playoffs, a lot of times it wasn't fluent because we didn't do it and practice it in the regular season to see if it even worked. Give it a try to see if we could get something. Like after Kolek's start of the season, I don't think last year he gets back into the rotation.
Yeah.
So we see playing, teaching, and making everybody ready. I think with this Atlanta game, Trae's going to try to do everything. Do that. Let him try. It's the one person shouldn't beat you. It's when you let them constantly get into the paint and dish to others. That's how we was able to kind of shut the Cavs water off both those runs. We made them one-on-one teams. Yeah, I think if we continue to do that and make it hard for them to get in the paint while doing it and contesting the shots, staying home, like we've seen. I've seen some rotations, and I'm looking with my mouth open, pause, because it was beautiful. Like the ball going around the the opposite team, the ball movement is there, but so is our defensive rotations. So I'm excited to see that continue and how it looks on Trey. I hope we make it very difficult for him and make him look like what I think he is. I'm not a believer in his game. And you can't let him. He does lob though, that he does. So it helps mix up his floater. You don't know if it's a floater or lob. So you again you have to make him a scorer and not a scorer and somebody that's getting others involved.
Yeah. All right, Frank. What are your thoughts for tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll just keep it simple because I know that we're playing them again on the 2nd, and I want to see us go in Atlanta, handle business. I want to see us come back to New York, top of the year, handle business. I think we're going to get that done. Honestly, we've been holding down the home court. You know, obviously, and Atlanta is kind of on a skid right now, so I think that we're going to be able to jump on them a little bit in Atlanta. But I want to see us not rest on our laurels and take this win and then feel like we are the champs of the world. Atlanta is old news for us. Let's go into Atlanta, handle our business. Go into the Pelicans game, handle our business. Go into the Atlanta game on the 2nd and handle our business again. And let's just keep this good vibe rolling. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. No, I love that. You know, the Atlanta is old business. You know, like I think that's one thing that this team needs to show. You know, like they may have been a thorn in our side before, but we're not that same Knick team. You know, like they're still that same Atlanta team. We're not that same Knick team. Let's not allow them to get more credit than they deserve. Let's not give them a foothold that they don't deserve. So I agree with that completely. Lee, before I give my take, what's your take on tomorrow night's game?
This could potentially be a trap game. The Hawks are 6-9 at home. They've lost 8 of their last 10. A lot of that is due to slow starts in a game. So I think we need to come out and put the foot on the neck. The one thing about Atlanta, their best player is no longer Trae Young. It's a young man named Jalen Johnson out of Duke University. He is averaging 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists. 2 assists away from a triple-double while shooting 52% from the field. He's a two-way dog. And I think OG Anunoby being on him, I think that's a difference maker to me, is finally having him back and healthy. And if his shot can start coming around, hitting those open corner threes that he's been hitting, that's a huge part of our offense. I think we did this W, but I think we focused more on Jalen as a facilitator and really forced Trae to be the scorer. But to me, that's the best move, because I think if the ball is moving on their end, they got a lot of sneaky role players that can hit threes. Just let's keep the offense going through Trae, because we know in the fourth quarter, Jalen Brunson not only will outduel him, but he'll come up clutch.
I love that. You know, one thing I love about Lee's takes is no one can say he doesn't watch ball. He knows not just what's going on in the Knicks camp, but he knows what's going on everywhere else, and he's a student of the game. So I love that. You know, for me, I think the keys to the game are the fact that this New York team is different. You know, like what would happen in previous years, especially against teams like the Hawks, is as soon as Jalen Brunson would go down, our scoring would come to a halt. Like we would have issues scoring, and then we would have to play from a deficit when Jalen Brunson came back in the game. We no longer have that issue. Like we no longer have a depleted bench. And I think that as long as the bench continues to do what they do, we're going to continue to see success as this New York Knicks team. With Josh Hart being out, we got to see who's going to be in that starting lineup. I would assume it would be Kolek, based off of what Kolek and Brunson minutes have kind of looked like and how they've been, you know, promising minutes. But I think McBride coming back, you know, is something that would be beautiful, you know, because then you don't have a fall off when it comes to the 3-point shot off the bench, because Kolek going into the starting lineup, now you have McBride there to play defense and to also hit the 3 at a high clip. So I love that. You know, one thing that Walter White said is they have no one to defend Cat. And I agree. And I think the key to this, though, is Cat not being his own issue. Because what we saw in that last game and previous games before is his offensive fouls causing issues for us for the rest of the game. You know, so that high elbow that he continues to throw, thinking that he's going to get away with it when he hasn't gotten away with it, they might not have someone to defend Cat, but Cat might defend himself. By putting himself into foul trouble. You know, so that's hopefully what I hope does not happen. But I think we walk away with that W as well. But I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you guys on the 30th. We will not be doing it on the 1st like we had planned. I'll be flying home, but we'll be connecting with you guys on the 30th. And so I appreciate all of you guys for doing that. Yeah, shout out to Molly for this.
Woo, those cards,
Yeah.
man.
Come on, man.
Those
Come
cards.
on, man.
I love them.
This is
They're
A1, man. Come on, man.
so dope. So I love when companies do things in excellence. Matter of fact, I saw this like weird shaped Glen Cairn on your guys' Instagram. Like, where do we find that? That's sick. I'll message you about that later. But to everybody on the panel, I appreciate you guys so much. From Molly sending out these samples and these bottles for us to enjoy and share. Like, seriously, it's not just impacting the game, but like I said, I'm making memories with my family off of these bottles. So thank you for that. Ben, seriously, a pleasure.
My pleasure. I have a question before the Knicks fan leaves, though.
Yeah.
And this is about the Knicks. So I'm just looking at some stats. I want to know what's the best part of their game. They're averaging 120 points. They're outscoring their opponents by 7. Atlanta's averaging 118. Their opponent is normally outscoring them by 1. Is it their offense or is it their defense?
Who, Atlanta's?
No, New York's.
New York's?
Their offense right now.
The offense.
Yeah.
So it's the offense. But they're outscoring people by 7 points. So, I mean, I guess they're scoring a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not shutting anybody down. Okay, got it.
And we just had a long stretch, which affects the average of one of our best defenders being out in OG Anunoby. So that plays a huge factor because some of those games, that's the position we were getting smoked in, such as Timberwolves with Julius Randle. Julius Randle went on that stint, where he was constantly scoring because he wasn't going up against the guy that he would be up against in OG Anunoby. That would have locked him down a lot better. So that kind of affects stats.
Y'all know me. I'm not trying to be different, but I'm a defensive hearted person. Y'all know that. I'm gonna go defense, and I tell you why. Even we go back to the game that just passed. It started really, Clarkson came with his spark off the bench, but it started because Clarkson and Kolek were playing defense. They were playing great team defense. We play smart defense, meaning the people that we wanted to shoot the ball, we Josh Harted people.
Yeah,
we were the people who Josh Harted somebody else.
Yep.
We let Thomas Bryant shoot. Go ahead, Thomas.
Show me something, Thomas.
We let DeAndre Hunter. Yeah, you good, but you struggling. Go ahead, DeAndre Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
You took the ball out of Mobley, took the ball out of Garland's hand, took the ball out of Spider's hand for long periods of time, and that came from defense and holding our own on that end. And I hope that continues to be our identity. People talk about Mike Brown, but they don't realize his specialty is defense.
Defense.
Mm-hmm.
That's his specialty. So you see now, even Cat competing. Yeah, he has some mistakes, but again, we're working on muscle memory right now. That repetitive. We're working on making it not like he's not thinking anymore, just moving.
Yeah.
And with defense, you make stuff. I think we're making things ugly. Like we had at halftime, we had something like 20 points off of turnovers at half.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of points. That's a lot of easy points your defense is giving you. So I think our biggest right now is that we're locking on that end. It's contested shots. Yeah, they see people are shooting threes, but now we're there.
Yeah. So shout out real quick to my crew at A Steady Pour. Love those guys. Amazing whiskey podcast. Shout out to them right there. They always flaunt their black bourbon run jackets at me, and I get really mad about that. So shout out to those guys. I'm gonna steal one of their jackets one day. Like that, their jacket will be mine. But to your point, Ebony, Mike Brown is making impact when it comes to defense. You look at Cat, his foul trouble in the first half of the season was all on stupid defensive plays where he was making contact with players. Now he's getting fouled out because he doesn't know how to stop throwing an elbow, but he's not getting useless fouls on the defensive end. So he's found a way to compensate and still get, a nasty amount of fouls, but at least he's not doing it on the defensive end, which keeps him in the game a little bit longer. So I agree. I think
one thing about Cat. I'm sorry, I don't want to hold up. Just one thing real quick. Cat got to play smarter and not harder. Pause. You one of the biggest big men shooters in the league, right? In history, they claim. You use that. People know that. People know you can shoot. Give me a pump fake. Give me. We got Melo right here. Work with Melo and get that jab game up.
Talk to me.
Well,
jab. Like you can't smack people through the rim. To get to the basket. We can't. That's not a move. That's the smack move. That's not a basketball move. You're gonna get called on it every time.
Yeah.
You know what? Now that he's engaged, he's gonna lock in. Like he's gonna do everything that Ebony is saying. Now that he has this family to look forward to, he got engaged. Like now he's gonna be ready.
I hope so, Frank. I really do.
I hope so too.
Because me, I'm
the frustrating part.
What's that?
The frustrating part is that most of these baskets, he's gonna make them simply off of his strength without throwing that elbow. Like that elbow is not needed. Like 9 times out of 10, the person he's going up against cannot match his physicality without throwing that elbow. That elbow.
I don't know. Sometimes I have questions about it. His strength. A lot of times, the lack of defense or the lack of offense comes because he can't move anybody. Like so many times, I don't want to believe it. I question myself: does he need some milk? Because it's just like you have an advantage on Spider, but you can't seal that post move. You can't seal the possession and get a turnover while trying to do it. Stuff like that. We need you on the court. We can't have you getting 2 fouls in under 2 minutes.
It's core strength. I always say with him is core strength. Like he might have muscles. He might be able to bench press a little bit, but his core strength is really has always been the issue for me because it doesn't seem like he can hold his position against wings, even if it's wings. It's not, and he's 7 foot tall. So
that's what I was about to say with Lee. Do you think that they probably put Johnson on Cat, right?
Who, Atlanta?
Yeah.
I think the Thunder will play Cat.
Really?
And that's the Thunder will play Cat.
Because Cat has I've always said this before he came to us, that he has a lot of similarities to the other point power forward we had, starting power forward, and the issues with smaller players. So that would be my only issue with Cat versus Atlanta.
They're going to switch a lot, so he'll see some of the guards, even Dyson, Jalen Johnson, guard him in some possessions too. He's got to know how to read the coverages and punish the closeouts, know when to take the 3, when not to take the 3, when to put the ball on the floor. But I hate the way he drives sometimes. Randall had like the tornado spin move that would go out of bounds. Cat is just like head down. It's too much physicality. It makes it easy for the refs to call the offensive fouls, whether or not the defender is flopping or giving his own theatrics. Like you got to be smart. Eb said it might be a counter or a jab set, something to get that extra additional space between you and defender. So that you have control when you're going to the rim. You don't make it super glaring for the refs to be like, that's an offensive foul, especially when you catch them in the first quarter. 2 in the first, it's like now your whole game plan.
Come on, bro.
All right, guys. So our guest Molly is getting ready to head out. It is 10:30. And so I appreciate you so much, Molly. Once again, OakleySpirits.com, people. Instagram, here is the link right there. Please check them out. They are incredible at what they are doing. And I am thankful for the over 470 of you that have rocked with us and tuned into this episode. Whether you are a whiskey head or not, give them a shot. Give them a shot. You will not be disappointed. And like I said on other episodes, when it's a brand that I really believe in, if you get it and you don't like it, I'm sorry. I'll give you my shipping address and I'll pay you half price for it. So I will let you at least get a half refund on it, but that would be on you if you didn't like it because that's your fault. So thank you so much, Molly, for being on the show.
Thank you, Molly.
Thank you.
Nice
Bill.
to meet you, Molly.
Talk to you soon. All righty. That was Molly at Oakley Spirits. And so thankful that she was able to join us. Let's see what happens this week, guys. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to give my mother-in-law and father-in-law their bedroom back so that they can go to sleep. And I'm going to go hang out with my wifey. But I appreciate each and every one of you on the panel. Ebony, seriously, such a blessing to have you back. It seriously, the same way it was a gift to Lee to see you back. The fact that you were willing to come on the show as your welcome back seriously takes me back to like our early content days collaborating. So thank you so much for being part of the show. Lee, like always, you know, your family. So I appreciate you. Love what you do. Looking forward to catching the post-game show tomorrow night. Apollo, you're my guy. You know, like always thankful. Tell your wifey that I am so thankful that she's on it. Shout out to Todd, who's not on the episode right now, for introducing me to Molly and allowing, you know, this connection to happen. Shout out to Ben, who's being, you know, very mischievous right now and making me want a jacket that I cannot have. So that's the Black Bourbon Run jacket right there, the very coveted you're not at the cool kids table jacket that I've been looking for. So appreciate it. Frank, you can't hear me apparently, according to, you know, the thing. So Frank, thank you, Frank. Thank you for being on the episode.
Phil's saying thank you, Frank. He's saying thank you. I guess Phil can't hear me either.
I don't think he can hear anybody.
Frank can't hear me either.
Frank, can you hear anybody?
Frank, can you hear me?
I can't hear you, Ben.
All right. Well, we said thank you, Frank.
So the group says thank you, Frank.
Thank y'all. What do you mean? Thank you.
Tell Frank I followed him on Twitter. Check his DMs.
I can hear you too, Lee. Okay, bet. I got you.
Okay.
All right. Appreciate you so much, Ben. Seriously, so great connecting with you. I feel like I'm just hanging out with a friend from the past.
Absolutely, bro.
Thank you guys so
Nice
much.
to meet you, Ben.
And until next
Nice meeting
time,
you.
like always, drink responsibly. Let's go, Knicks. God bless. If you guys need anything, please hit me up. Like we said, we all know from experience, this season can be hard for a lot of us. The year was crazy. And as we go into 2026, I pray nothing but blessings for you guys. But if you need anything, you want to chop it up, you need prayer, anything like that, hit me in my DMs. I'd love to chat with you guys. So until next time, cheers, God bless, and let's go Knicks.
Cheers.
This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down.